greatest tragedy of science is the slaying of a beautiful hypothesis by an ugly fact.
Yeah. Welcome to CedTalks, where we separate fact from fiction. Mess it up a myth every time. This that Ced talk, yeah, we said it straight. Cut through the noise, elevate the debate. No pseudo talk, no foggy claims. Just evidence-based when we build these frames. Ced talks, yeah, clarity first. If it ain't got method, it probably won't work. From ancient knowledge to modern science, we draw that line, that clear defiant. They say the ancients had science. Hold up, pause. Knowledge ain't the same as methodological laws. Observation, yeah, but control tests rare. No predictive models, you gotta be fair. We respect the past, but we keep it exact. Precision matters when you deal with facts. Astronomy grew, astrology split. One stayed empirical, one lean myth. The shift came through naturalistic method. Just and revised, that's how we embed it. Not culture bound, not tied to a place. It's a universal tool for the human race. This guy said talks, yeah, he said it straight. Cut through the noise, elevate the debate. No pseudo talk, no foggy claims. Just evidence space when we build these frames. Ced talks, yeah, clarity first. If it ain't got method, it probably won't work. From ancient knowledge to modern science, we draw that line, that clear defiance. They blur definitions, start moving the goalposts. Turn fried to a claim that don't hold close. Science ain't on, this a process refined. Independent of culture, space and time. You can't redefine it to fit identity. That's how you lose all epistemic integrity. We test every claim, we don't just believe. If it can't be verified, we don't receive. From early observers to labs today, it's rigor and doubt that paved the way. Not name dropping scholars to win a debate, but data and method that validate. So what's your ideology? That's cool to ask, but truth ain't decided by the loudest class. We question it all, no sacred ground. If it don't hold up, we break it down. This that Ced talk, yeah, we live in direct. No fear in the facts, just intellectual respect. No more, no mirror, no fantasy, just truth, logic, and consistency.
Good afternoon, and welcome back to another Ced Talks, where philosophy, science, history, and critical thinking comes together to explore the ideas that shaped our understanding of reality. Today, we get to answer one of the questions I often ask. What and how do we distinguish imagination from reality? That is what we're going to be discussing in today's episode. Before I get into my little diatribe, before we get into the talk, let me say hello to everybody that is in the building. Mika, thank you for being here. Now, gentlemen, y'all know ladies first, so nobody complain. My brother Black Sun of 403 was in the building first. Today is your day. You were talking about this the whole time. I said it's coming, and here we are, a logical positivism. But I had to build it slowly because that foundation was necessary. If I came to this before I went through what I went through, we would have been in a state of confusion. I understood the deficiencies in the conversation, and that's why I decided to take the long approach, slow the conversation down. That was the intent of Ced Talks from its inception. So that is what we're doing. Don't forget, everybody, when you come in the building, thumb up the video. I appreciate everybody watching the video. Help the algorithm. Thumb up the video. Help the channel grow. We are producing university type information, type quality information for free and in a marginalized community. This is what we are supposed to be doing. If you have the wealth of information, it is a must that you share it. Shout out to Joel. Thank you for your contribution in this entire development in the epistemic rupture that we're seeing in the community. The revolution is televised. The changing of the old guard and the introduction of the proper way of extracting information from the world around us. Remember, scientific literacy is the vaccine against the charlatans, scammers, hoodwinkers, and hustlers in this community. So tonight, episode 3 of our ongoing series, we continue our journey through the philosophical foundations that help give rise to modern scientific thought. You see that sentence there? Shout out to the God Killer. This is what he did in his initial series, the development of scientific thought. The development of scientific thought. Throughout this whole escapade, I have insisted on bringing the conversation up to the level of thought. We've been having that conversation. It eludes our interlocutors who choose to be interlocutors in a subject that is beyond their level of rhetoric, right? We have insisted on being academically sound over here. We bring over scholars. This is what we do. We have set out on a mission to upgrade the level of discourse in the community, upgrade the level of understanding, and make our community more scientifically literate. Never said become scientists. So if the quest is scientific literacy, it is obvious that it's a conversation about how we think, how we think. Therefore, the conversation is about epistemic regimes. What was the philosophical premise in which the information was distracted from the natural world? Conversation regresses. They had observations. They did measurements. What was the thought process framing that thinking? What was the thinking behind the actions? The actions are irrelevant if you don't understand the philosophical framework, how they were thinking, their epistemic regime. When you understand that, you will understand why we talk about an epistemic rupture, a scientific revolution. The revolution produced the science. It was the revolution, the scientific revolution. So you see these words coming back, and what we get is we get equivocation fallacy, flattening the words, linear thinking, all the wrong premises of thought. That's why my series was dedicated to how we think. So when my interlocutors come up here and start to talk about the tools, and I do not allow the discussion to digress to the tools, it is difficult for them to follow because they're insisting on not acknowledging the epistemic rupture, a shift, a paradigm shift in how we process information. So, in the previous episodes, we explored empiricism and the role of observation and experience in knowledge. Again, let me slow it down. In knowledge, in the manner in which we acquire information, observation take on a unique characteristic when rooted in empiricism. Get that? Again, I'm referring right back to my original point. Now you see how observations is playing a specific role when it comes to empiricism. The observations are not merely what you see and deduce, reach to a conclusion based on mere sight. Now, observation has a foundation of empiricism behind it. There are certain requirements to that, a way of thinking about the observation. So, tonight, we're going to move deeper into the framework that transformed not just philosophy, but the very way humanity investigates the universe. We'll examine the emergence of we have examined the emergence of materialism, physicalism, the view of reality fundamentally grounded in physical world rather than a supernatural or material immaterial notion. So we went from the Greek atomists to exploring Einstein's understanding of physicalism versus materialism. We've done all that. So now we are into the modern scientific naturalism. We traced how these ideas evolve, why they become influential, and how they continue to shape science, skepticism, and the contemporary debates about the mind, consciousness, and reality itself. This is not merely a discussion about matter, it is a discussion about evidence, causality, and long intellectual struggle to explain the universe through material processes rather than supernatural explanation. So, in this episode, we move beyond that again. Now we reach to the point where we start to ask, how? How can I discern what you're saying? So now we got the development of science. We're in the early 1920s, and in Europe, we got the first woos, the first level of quantum woo. Y'all think these things new under the sun? No. In the 1920s, you had the Lebensscience in Germany, life science, quantum woo, and all the mysticism. It was running rampant. So you get a group of philosophers come together, something called the Vienna Circle, and they set down some parameters, some philosophical parameters, right, which narrowed the scope of what we could define as science. Remember, I talked about the snake oil salesman, God killer as well. Remember, say what you want. That video is of snake oil salesman, right? So there was a period where the cloak of science, like we see today, and shout out to the barbershop boys. Now we see that they are trying to use scientifically sounding words, but they lack the academic depth to actually quantify what they're saying. So they're just rambling at this point. But imitation is the best form of flattery. So thank you. Keep trying. I appreciate it. You're dancing in my arena, so you're going to get better. That is the ultimate goal. Science is undefeated. Cedric is irrelevant. Y'all egos are going to be irrelevant soon once y'all start to understand the process we're dealing with. So back to the boys in Vienna. They were understanding the confusion going on. They say, now we got to put an end to this. All this nonsense, they pretending to be science. All the nonsense in the barber shop pretending to have coherent conversation and talking about the subject matter they know nothing about. Call a conference, put the lockdown. Call a conference, we put the lockdown. We, pseudo killers, represent the modern day Vienna Circle, whether you like it or not. We put the smack down. We determine the rules of engagement. We put the parameters there and can't move past them. This is the same thing that happened with the Vienna boys. They came together and they clearly defined the parameters of what is science. They asked a question: how do you distinguish imagination from reality? This is the roaring 20s. You got to understand, Germany was the cultural center of Europe, right? Everything and everything what was coming out of Europe was in Germany, right? And so this is where the was coming from, German scientists, the veneer of science. Sound like the Black conscious community, right? Shout out to Dr. Reggie. Oh, damn! I'm sorry, folks. I'm triggered. I'm triggered.
What's your ideology? Seems to be the question round here lately. Every discussion.
Stinky face, stinky face.
Rooted in blackology, fueled by the lack of integrity. Case in point, the so-called tragedy.
So, the case in point, in this time and era in Germany, you had all the so-called doctors, the Dr. Yokes, Dr. Reggie's, Dr. Phil Valentine's, selling people a bunch of nonsense. There came in the Vienna Circle. There came in the community of skeptics and the God killer. There came in the pseudo killer, Kickdog Kent, and the rest of us. Rah! Modern day Vienna Circle. We ain't having it. We're not accepting it. We're not dealing with it. See, we often say there's nothing new under the sun and history repeats itself. And this is a classic case of history repeating itself. We represent, I'm sweating, I wipe my face. We represent the epistemic rupture. We represent the new God fighting the old God. I represent Hume. I represent the French materialists. We then, pseudo killers. We are anti-establishment. We are taking the authority away from those who simply think they can make it up. We are the ones that are truly empowering the people. Taking authority away from the man and putting it squarely where it belongs, in nature itself. Equipping you with the tools to tell the man the finger. But you're fighting this? Why? Because you have the old God, Reggie, barbershop boys. You want to maintain an air of authority by means of fiat, where your gift for gab and your ability to flim-flam is what brings you over the hurdle. So the pushback and the resentment is the same that those characters and individuals that we're going to see today in the presentation suffered. Understanding history, we knew what we was getting into. Understanding history, we know science is undefeated. Understanding history, we already know the outcome of this game. And you can see the lack of academic rigor on these other platforms. Their actual contribution to your intellectual growth is zero. They have nothing to offer. Now, for us, for me, oh boy, today's episode was yet another classic one. They don't understand. Each episode, it is documented, it's archived, it's dissected, and it's put into the bag. The bag that says whenever we feel like hitting the button and just taking a spin and dissecting a specimen, we shall do so. This is our authority in the community. Since y'all called us the police, we will be policing you. Be careful what type of material you put out there. Your fallacies are obvious. Your incoherence is on display. And I will proceed to tar and feather you with pleasure and take great pride in purposely and systematically stripping you down to the nothingness that each one of you are. I will do it with a sadistic pleasure of peeling back the layers of nonsense piece by piece by piece by piece. I operate by one simple rule. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing, because you do not determine the level of my reaction. And I can do this for the rest of the year and way into next year as well. And do it with pleasure, because I enjoy this nerd stuff. So, without further ado, I mean, okay, we got to break it up, right? Before I get into the presentation, I know y'all want to hear the rest of it.
Smash, come over, kings wanna know. It must be a conspiracy. Now stop. track. Always live in history. Ask Dr. Bennett Clark. Say their names is our spark. All one big fantasy. Smoke and mirrors, only confusion, no clarity. The nigga promote crazy, Van Sermon and Rashid. Now he teaching God in the demon. That's another story. Reggie out here seeking glory. For him it's about his legacy. Highest little movement ended prematurely. Reggie was denied his opportunity. He signed at the feet so surely. It was meant to be his destiny to the king of mythology. That's your ideology.
All right. It's Friday. We're allowed to have a little bit of fun, even in an academic setting. It's Friday. Let your guard down. I'm going to get in the presentation, but just be having a little bit of fun. You relax. At Reggie's expense? No, it's not at Reggie's expense. Reggie was a willing sacrifice. He jumped out the window with both feet and no parachute. For the last time. We having fun. It's all fun and games, right, Reggie? All right, folks. Let me get into the presentation. Dun, dun, dun. Need a sound. All right. Positivism. When science became the standard. How did we get here? What's all this? The question, so many questions. Ah, the answers are found in nature itself. But you got to work for it. Methodological naturalism. Teach the babies. Science. Let's go. The scientific revolution, 1543 to 1687. The central question, what separates knowledge from speculation? How do I know it's not your imagination? Got their imagination. We have a lot of imagination stuff in this community. Beginning with Nicholas Copernicus publishing the Revolutionis Orbium Coelestium in 1543. Started asking questions. Nicholas Copernicus. And culminating with Isaac Newton's publishing of Principia Mathematica in 1687. This long journey was the establishment of physics as we know it today. Natural philosophy within the philosophy of science is what led to the establishment of the scientific discipline called physics. Now, is there any chemistry without physics? No. Is there any biology without chemistry or physics? No. The fundamental understanding of reality, is it chemistry? Is it biology? Or is it physics? Ah. Lights are starting to go up in the little brains. I see. Not y'all. Not y'all. Trust me, not y'all. Anybody in this chat right now understands the message that's being sent here. And I'm going to leave it right there. Zaki, and just for the record, I'm going to say it again. Serendipity. These gentlemen that were natural philosophers struggling with the old world dying, confronted with new instruments, new technology, an arena in which they can now actually question or were being questioned, the authority being questioned. These gentlemen, all of the establishment, all of authority, Mr. Newton, he said, hell with all of them. Pong his chest like that. I'm a proof God by mathematics. Set out on his quest. Came back, scratching his head, chest deflated, now he pong it to hard. No can do. All I've tried, I found no place to place God in the equations. Now, what does the crew that engages in scientism? This makes sense. He practiced methodological naturalism. No, methodological naturalism, the rule and order was established based on these principles that they established couldn't. So eventually we led to the conclusion, no need. Irrelevant. But for this man, that was not a failure. Some of the stuff he did was out there. Operated as a zealot. Dedication of a zealot. Like me, you see the dedication? Putting in the work from different epistemic regimes. So. Deal with that however you need. Figure out however you need. A very influential bridge card. His intent, like they say, many a good road is, the road to hell is paved with many a good intention. Which means your final outcome, not necessarily a product of your intentions. Sir, but for a physicist, is this dude the top dude? Most of them will acknowledge him, yes. Some will argue Einstein, some will argue Newton. That's a subjective topic. Irrelevant of your academic status. It's a subjective topic, which, again, is a type of rhetoric only found in barbershop. Why? Because it's a never-ending philosophical engagement that has no productivity whatsoever, only blah, 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 blah. Now, I think I've given you a lot more in-depth information, setting the stage for the subsequent episodes that will come out of this issue. Remember, it's all about content. Thank y'all. This period transformed astronomy, physics, mathematics, and scientific methodology. Oh, you see, I was ahead of my game. Astronomy, physics, mathematics, this speaks to a particular field of study quite intimately. Won't you agree? The fact that he could not find no place for a God in describing the motions of the heavenly bodies. became foundational to the scientific method. Ask yourself, was this his intent? Tick, tock, tick, tock. Because everything we've been talking about is intent, objective, reason, philosophical framework. Isn't that the case? Isn't that the reality? Do you want to deny that reality as well? You can't deny that reality. You know you can't deny. You want to deny that reality? So I just opening my auxiliary screen. I work with me for a minute, making sure that everything is working fine. I see it is, but yeah, I tend to do that. Okay, yeah, continue. The universe increasingly became understood through natural laws, mathematics, observations. Now, they had observations that multiply. By this time, we have instruments developed. We have telescope already being developed, right? And they're being further worked on. We have technology that is interfacing with our ability to observe the natural world, which gives us far greater insight in how things move. Galileo actually could observe the elliptical orbit by means of his telescope. And actual experimentation. No longer the type of experiments that were done by Aristotle, but actual experiments to verify and create empiricism, get raw hard data. The Enlightenment, circa, the C small c is for circa, is for approximate. 1685 to 1815, approximate, circa. Sometimes you need to emphasize these things just for clarity's sake. The Enlightenment phase, reason, skepticism, human inquiry, and secular investigations. You see now, the Enlightenment phase brought with it its own bag of conundrums. Because we got some people who want to remain purely in the arena of reason. And we know that reason is valuable, it has its limitation. So if you don't employ skepticism and secular investigation, and you remain purely in a Descartian state of mind, or you want to engage in what I call slipping behind the Kantian wall, you are going to refuse empiricism. But seeing that we understand the holistic nature of these epochs, these periods within the epistemic rupture, we understand that when you solely rely on reason, you have not moved far enough on that bridge to where you encounter Hume telling you, See? Major figures. John Locke say, man, tabula rasa. You're born with a blank slate, and everything that you acquire is through your experience. This is where the infamous debate of nurture versus nature starts. See where when John Locke was? 1632, 1705. This argument been going on for so long. Almost 1,000 years, man. Now, 100 years to be exact. David Hume. Listen, I am biased, and everybody knows right by now. David Hume is my hero. Listen. So when it comes to y'all who talking about Einstein and Newton, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Here. Without David, ain't got none of that. Without D, ain't got no Newton, ain't got no Einstein, because D said bullshit, bullshit. Burn that book. I know I don't like Hume because he directly challenged authority. This man books were banned. That's a bad man. And Immanuel Kant, y'all know he's not my favorite character because I think that the dudes that did the flim flam, him, the car, a couple other of them, were disingenuous dweebs trying to hold on to their status, trying to preserve the status quo. These were the Reggies of those days. He looks like a Reggie, right? Look. Tell me he don't look like Reggie. He does. That smug look, pompous and arrogant. The Kantian wall. This dude was so arrogant, he created a wall as if y'all stay over there and we'll stay over here. Arrogant prick. Reggie, do like Kant. Go behind the nominal wall and stay there. Let your imagination run wild. But stay out of the arena of the phenomena. Empiricism! We are here where the big boys play. Empiricism argued knowledge begins with sensory experience and observation. There must be a there there. I keep saying it. If there's not a there there, then there's nothing there, and there's no conversation to be have about there because there's no there there. How dare you? If there's no there there, what are we talking about? Lex? Well, you know, Joe, no, I don't know. There's no there there. How do I know? What do you want me to look at? What do you want me to measure? What do you want me to touch, taste, smell? What? Yes, we have developed tools to help us express our imagination. Take up an instrument or start to draw, write fiction. These are all the areas in which human imagination are worthy. Write a movie, I'll go watch it. But do not jump on these panels in an empirical environment and want to sell me Jurassic Park. It is not going to work. You are going to run into your own Kantian wall head on first every time. Every single time. It's not me. It's the method. It's the rules. Like Reggie says, don't argue with me. Write the author. And you don't have to argue with me. I ain't even telling you to go act. You just gonna butt up in head first, crash dummy every time. We are grounded in proper methodology. The fundamental building blocks. You see how deep and far I'm taking you down this rabbit hole, right? Because this is not new and this is fundamental. That's why y'all keep losing these conversations. Major empiricists, they keep coming back. John Locke. He said minds. Tabarasa, blank slate. Be careful where you talk to your babies. Be careful the kind of information you feed to your children. You are a loser. You are a failure. Do you want that for your kids? Get out of your emotional bath, drop your ego, and bring them over to the light. You know why? Because by the time they're 12, they'll be smarter than you. And once your kid hear you sounding as ignorant and as dumb as you are, they lose respect for you. And then they're going to start to seek their information and their confirmation somewhere else. Step your damn game up, mommy and daddy. However you take it, however you take it, apply what I'm telling you. Knowledge derived from experience. Necessary step in the development. But we never satisfied. Because experience, based on your prerequisite environmental knowledge, is how you're going to interpret the data, huh? Shout out to the Brain Show. But we are talking about the development. So at no single point are we there yet. So to have these conversations black and white is what you do at a barbershop level. Here we are going to deal with the nuances. We're going to take you through, slow you down, put you in that space and time. George Berkeley, 1685 to 1753. Radical empiricism. Focus on perception and experience. Taking it a step further. This brother is discussing the interface. Our perception. He's taking it a step further. Oh, Hume said, are you sure? This brother saying, sure, are you sure you were experiencing what you were experiencing? I always saving for last. Skepticism towards metaphysics. This was the death of metaphysics. This was the death of the logical reasoning guys. This was the death of the discipline that is taught now for art form, philosophy, Descartesian philosophy. It is not applicable in no metric of reality today. None. We saw in Wednesday's episode clearly that modern science and philosophy are co-joined. You cannot have a philosophical premise that is completely and totally void from scientific underpinning and vice versa. So metaphysics is dead. It has been. Y'all don't get to make it up. It has been quite some time since you do not get to make it up. None of y'all. None of y'all. There is no accurate description. There is no actual understanding of anything outside of space time. None. I must say it again. Nothing you read, nothing you believe, nothing you adhere to, nothing you hold dear to that makes assertion about the metaphysical is grounded in anything factual. None of it. None of it. Absolutely none of it. I don't want to hear none of it. The critique of causation and certainty. We do not see causation. We only see reaction, outcome. We have no reason to assume certainty when we cannot and have no understanding of the causal agent. The sun rises. There's no certainty there. You don't understand the mechanism. We do not see causal agents. We see chain of events. Causality is assumed. And we know now quantum fluctuations kills causality. There is no causal agent for quantum fluctuation. Simply happens. Nature doesn't owe you an explanation, so don't ask me. It is what it is. Doesn't owe you an explanation. It's your job to observe, recognize, and apply. Don't question it in the way as if you're supposed it owes you an answer. You experience cause and effect. That's your ability to engage with the natural world. You evolve sufficiently enough for that level of engagement to allow you to reach to an age of reproduction. That's it. You operate under that metric. We all do. Science creates humility. Science tells us, bro, I don't care how smart you think you are. I don't care how logic your syllogism is. That ain't it. Humility. And the irony is, we are dealing with the Puritan era here where status and quo and this thing is all hype. These people are the most set of arrogant human beings to walk the earth. They simply are. Snobs. These are the people that instigated transatlantic slave trade. All right. We ain't forget about that. We ain't forget about it. I'm trying to treat the irony. A, a philosophical framework which allowed for the enslavement of other people at the same time was forcing a shift in humility that these people psychologically weren't able to process or really able to handle. Do you understand how violent the Inquisition was? Where do you think that came from? The epistemic rupture, the falling away of authority. The rise of positivism. Auguste Comte, 1798 to 1857. He looks like if there was something called Dracula for real. He's scary. Comte formally developed positivism, and we are here. His major work, Course of Positive Philosophy, 1830 to 1842. The core of his arguments, he was looking at the three stages of civilization, the development, and how we process information. He was the first one to start to tackle this thing called epistemic regimes. Ha ha. You guys thought we were making this stuff up. Huh? Y'all thought that this was Cedric's crazy idea. Mind you, when this conversation started, I said there are two documents you require reading: the history of science, the philosophy of science. You're reading that stuff, you are going to go down all these rabbit holes. If y'all had done what I was saying, I would have seen y'all resurface in a couple of years, not right now. Not hearing a word and try and synthesize it in your lexicon without even fully understanding what is going on. That is why the cognitive dissonance is taking place. The three stages of civilization. Let me see. I want to do a poll. I ain't going no further. I want to see if people could tell me the three epistemic regimes that are going to come back here. There are three distinct epistemic regimes. Three of them. I've been talking about them insistently. Animism, the first one, the development of that one became what? Mythological philosophy, natural philosophy, and the scientific era. Three distinct epistemic regimes we have been discussing. Y'all think these things are in a vacuum. Come on, get all the likes up. Everybody hit the like button. Let's get all the likes up. Get the likes up. So again, we didn't think it was in our imagination. This isn't my idea. I'm a nerd to study this stuff. Like JJ said, dead white people. You up here telling about the dead white people. Dead white people wigs. Dead white people wigs. Comte ain't got no wig. He looks like Dracula though, but hey, that's my personal opinion. That's a little barbershop rhetoric for you. Theological stage. Supernatural explanations dominate. The rustling of the bush is kuntere, umdada. It's nut, it's jeb, it's geb. Horus, hello. It is Zeus. Theological stage, supernatural explanations dominate. We went through the distinct epistemic regime. Which one is going to be the next? Dun, da, 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 dun, da, 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 da. Bam, 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 ba-dum, ba-da-da, da, da-da-da-da. Metaphysical stage, abstract philosophical essence replaces mythology. What we call the natural philosopher stage. Why is it metaphysical? Because assertions were made about nature without any evidence to support it, unsupported arbitrary claims. For example, the ark, the essence, water being the essence, the ark of reality. Atom, smallest indivisible part, was a speculative endeavor. There was no real evidence to support these hypothetical positions. It was based on deduction. A simple explanation for what is observed, as if this is the ontological basis for the observation, which it is not. Metaphysical stage. Abstract philosophical essence replaced mythology. This is the second stage of development. And let us guess what is the last stage or the current stage. And I'm going to say the last stage because this framework will only continue to develop. Within it has a self-correcting mechanism which allows for it further develop. Dun, dun, dun. Positive, the scientific stage. Knowledge is based on observations, experimentations, and scientific laws. So these scientific laws form the format in which your observations are going to be done. What is considered observation? What is considered an experiment? How do you operate a valid experiment? Yeah? How? The parameters, things we've been discussing. Science and observable reality. Y'all see how deep the rabbit hole goes? Y'all focusing on one. Is Newton a scientist? Is Newton a scientist? Newton a scientist? Ernst Mach, 38 to 1916. March argued science should focus only on observable phenomena. He, like my good friend, he wants us to remain in the phenomena. The Kantian wall must be maintained with all integrity. Call the troops, pseudo killers, arm the Kantian wall. Do we have the Do we have the high altitude bombers locked in? Yes, sir, Commander. All is safe. The Kantian wall is protected. All attempts to cross the Kantian wall shall meet other destruction. Do we have green light to shoot? Do we have green light to kill all targets? It's a green light. Shoot on sight. Shoot on sight. The Kantian wall must not be breached by all costs. Yes, sir. Over and out. Target locked on 72. Yeah, I think I see Lex Vortex attempting to cross the Kantian wall. How do we first hit him with suppressive fire? He's retreating off, but only for a second. He's attempting to cross the wall again. Well, it's time to annihilate. Drop the nuke. You cannot cross the Kantian wall. It is forbidden. All noumena must stay in the noumena. Science focus only on observable phenomena. Say it with me. There must be a there. Yeah. Concepts without empirical grounding should be treated cautiously. So Hoffman's nonsense and his rhetoric shall be treated cautiously. And we do over here, we put the pseudo alert on it. Oop, 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 oop. We are not quantifying those assertions because they are not empirically grounded. A theorem provides no empirical support. And as we've discovered, your syllogism can be as logical as here to the moon and back, but it still doesn't make Spider-Man real. Let's go. His ideas strongly influence physics. Lots of it. Listen, y'all better stop playing with me. Somebody get what's name in here. Chess dude. What's his name? His ideas strongly influence what? Philosophy of what? If you ain't studied this subject, if you are not versed in the philosophy of science, how dare you? How dare you imply that we are using the nomenclature inadequately, incorrectly, or but as mere laymen? You are out of your academic depth. How dare you? The audacity. I take offense at such rhetoric. That is what we call classic projection. You are out of your academic depth. His ideas strongly influence physics, the philosophy of science, and logical positivism. Yeah, I'm talking about Roy Chess sticking his chest out while playing checkers. Get all the likes up. 34 people in the building. Get all them likes up. Get the likes up. Support the channel. Come on, do me a favor, man. I don't ask for nothing else but the likes. All I ask for is the likes. Work with me. Come on, it's Friday. We have a good time. Get the likes up. Y'all don't understand how much I appreciate y'all being here. This is the boring stuff. This is the stuff y'all never thought y'all would have been engaging with. Now here we are, dissecting these individuals and using it to map our reality in real time. I'm showing you this is not stuffy information that belongs in a shelf. This is stuff you put in your toolkit and becomes part of your arsenal. That's where you catch them slipping. Roy Chess, truest, out of your academic depth. Logical positivism. And we are here. Vienna, the Austrian capital, over there in Europe. Beautiful, isn't it? This is where them boys, them pseudo killers, this is the pseudo killers old school discord right there. You're seeing the pseudo killers discord when we decide it is enough. This community has gone way over its breaches. We have individuals calling themselves Moses, Jesus, Holy Ghost, the Spirit of whatever. We got individuals calling themselves rhetoric frontier, anti-academia. We have God energy, whatever that is, who is pseudorizing the hell out of genetics. It's like we entered a time of regression. We were making strides, but we were simply beating up the pseudo. We were just beating up the pseudo. Beating up pseudos easy. They go, they form Voltron, they cry foul, they attack our black identity. They say we like white people, and they get the regular folk on this side. They appeal to emotion, and they do that, and we come back, and then a conference was held where those members of the Illuminati, the God Killer, good juju, bad juju, mischief, Mel, Cedric, Kick Door Kent, Joel, Sir Goose, they came together. They hunkered down and they devised a plan. It was enough. The modern day Vienna Circle, the superheroes of the conscious community, was formed. Enough is enough. They had Vienna, we have the Discord. Vienna Circle, a philosophical movement centered in Vienna during the early 20th century. Again, why? You got pseudoisms running rampant in Germany. The quantum woo generation 101, Science, Lebensscience, life science, came up with the life science, the woo, and everything was science. They just stick science on it to put a white lab coat on, do like they were doing some experiments and call it science. So these actual philosophers, men of renown, those with integrity in the community, they say, no, dun, 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 let's form Voltron. So you have Moritz Schlick, 1882 and 1932. He was the Superman. He's the Clark Kent. You see, he look nice bow tie. He has a bow tie on the little glasses. But you see the part in the head, the cut. This is what we call goody two shoes. Like he's a nerd. Like he's a nerd. You do not mess with nerds. Y'all didn't watch the Revenge of the Nerds back in the day. Do not mess with us. We are dangerous. Don't let that face fool you. He's a bad man. Coming to beat down y'all. Voltron. Rudolph Carney. He looks like Hannibal Smith from the 18. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. He looked like the one. He looked like the master plan. Looky face. He like, I'm on. You look. I ain't. Listen, guys. We need to fix this. Look his face. This man dead serious. Oh boy, look Cedric. Look Cedric. Y'all wanna play? Y'all want to play? Let's play. You see, y'all see white people. I see state of mind. I see characters. So I can model myself and the people around me to these individuals because it's what they represent. It's not how they look. Scientific literacy allows you to look beyond the superficial, but look at his face. He's like me. He enjoys taking y'all out. I'm gonna beat y'all up for fun. Yes, I like taking advantage. Y'all intellectually inferior to me, and I enjoy beating y'all up. Why? Because y'all don't know how to just stay out of my way. I told y'all, don't talk about this subject. Every time y'all do, every time y'all mention anything, talk about basketball. Talk about basketball and hip hop. Those are the two subjects you are allowed to talk about. Nothing else. I am done. You guys are over. You call my name, and now I've decided you get to speak about basketball, and hip hop. Nothing else. Any other subject you mention goes in the archive for me to dissect. Because every time I get a chance to illustrate how dumb the collective is, I will do so. Because y'all are said of dumb niggas. Leave me alone. Leave us alone. Stay out of our way. All of y'all. I wish I wasn't in the big screen. I would have played that Reggie Jam right now, just for the fun of it. Verification principle. This is the Vienna Circle 2026. We ain't playing. We ain't playing. We ain't playing with y'all. Pseudo killers, baby. This statement is meaningful only if it is. So a statement, this is the verification principle. A statement is meaningful only if I can verify and distinguish imagination from reality. Empirically testable or logically or mathematically true. Meaningful. So here is where the flim flam scammers and the crooked people and those who want to take you on rides come with their theorems, logically and mathematically true. Now you have the genuine natural philosophers. Shout out to Sean Carroll. Shout out to Roger Penrose and the likes. When they create theories, they use existing math, they use existing logical frameworks, and they come up with ideas that cannot necessarily yet be tested, but are plausible. Why these are not metaphysical, like Hoffman's theorem, is because the math and the concepts are grounded within empiricism. That's a fundamental difference. That's a fundamental difference. Again, you can have a theorem of complete abstraction, not using any current scientific modeling, pure abstract math. You can model any concept you want mathematically. Doesn't mean that it falls within the parameters of empirical data or logically sound, or falls within the verification principle. And this is another place where they try to catch you. So this particular thing here, the verification principle, hold on to it. Because not because it's a theorem and its proof and the theorem is sound mean that it represents an actuality or even a possibility in nature. This is the flim flam. Ron, y'all keep trying, keep dying. Their goal was ambition to place philosophy on the same rigorous foundation as science. So, Royches, miss me with your Descartesian reasoning as if it has any validation in our modern philosophy. It doesn't. You studied a historical narrative and you learned how to apply an outdated principle and want to move it into the 21st century as if it's applicable. I'm going to kick you back over the Descartesian wall. Shooters, get him! Oh, you see Roychester? Roychester is attempting to breach the Kantian wall. Do I have permission to execute? Do we have permission to execute? Kill on sight. Do not do suppressive fire. Use full missile attack. Destroy prematurely. Get out of here. All the way out of here. They believed many traditional philosophical problems were not genuinely solvable because they were based on vague, unverifiable language, psychobabbling. Y'all remember Papa calling out what's his name for the same reason, right? Y'all remember Papa calling out what's his name, Freud, for the same reason? Keep making it up. Keep making it up. All right. Empirically verifiable. So water boils at 100 degrees at sea level. That's a fact. Earth orbits the sun. Measurable, testable. Smoking increases lung cancer. These are empirically verifiable statements. So these can be observed, tested, and measured. There is empiricism there. Analytically true. All bachelors are unmarried. Mathematical truth. 2 plus 2 is 4. Not the theorems based in hypothetical stuff that we have no evidence for or able to support. These are true, though. These are true through definitions and logical structures. These are the by both means by which they are true. By the definition they are true, and by the logical structure. Right? So all bachelors are unmarried. Water boils at 100 degrees. Boom. This fact. So now, this is where we separate fact from fiction. This is how I know it's your imagination, Babylon done, versus reality. It's my imagination. It's your denomination. Positivist challenge. Untestable supernatural claims. Speculative metaphysics. Appeal to mystery as an explanation. So the last one, we eliminate Lex Vortex. Appeal to mystery. Speculative metaphysics. That's again is a Ron, the likes of Ron, the likes of Lex Vortex, and the whole pseudo community over there on HOK. Untestable supernatural claims. Anything you tell me about a God, don't believe. I just you're lying. I'm sorry about it. It's about time we just say, you know what, you lie. You know, you know for a fact, nothing you are saying right now is true. You know, because you can't prove any of it. You simply accept it. So you accepted it trying to convince me you're lying. I'm not hearing it. I can't test your supernatural claims. Why do I have to believe you? I just do not accept it. There is no response, no argument necessary. Speculative metaphysics, all your metaphysics is speculative. And you're not going to tell me, you know, we never know. It might, could possibly die. Mystery, your conspiracy theories as explanation, none of them work. This is the way we think. I haven't run a test yet. I didn't open a science book yet. I didn't talk about one formula. None of it. We are dealing with how you reason. How do you process information? How do you think? That's the exercise. Let's continue. If a claim cannot be tested, measured, or observed, how can we distinguish it from imagination? Please, somebody tell me. I know you got a lot of imagination. It's on your imagination. Barbershop rhetoric, imagination, in the imagination. Well, I feel kind of sort of think it might be because, well, if it might be kind of one of if and sometimes because of might. Empowerment Buddhism, God, niggas, stop. Just stop. Get help. Stop. Yeah, Babylon Done is a specimen. So positivism helped shape modern science. Lo and behold, we use positivism in modern science because it actually, there must be a there. Evidence-based medicine. Oh, damn. You want to take away positivism from your evidence-based medicine? Skepticism, we the community is skeptics. So I don't believe you. I shouldn't believe you. If your feelings are hurt, then make sure next time you come around, you have something that I can believe. Because I don't care about your feelings. The peer review process. Now, shout out to the barbershop boys. They even try to undermine the peer review process. Now, listen, if this ain't sad, then I don't know what is. How you trying to undermine the peer review process? Do as if it has something. Y'all don't know what loss of authority means. Y'all assume that authority just shifted to a new group of people. It is institutionalized, doesn't mean it has an authoritarian nature. What am I doing right now? Applying the same rigor, the same methodology to reach to the conclusions as necessary. Peace, Mel. What it do? What it do? So, if we are going to try and undermine the peer review process, that is telling everybody the barbershop boys want to maintain in a position of assumed authority which they never had. That's why y'all are left field, because y'all never had it. Never for a second. Not even the illusion of it. And this level of discourse, this level of engagement, this level of articulation and understanding of this particular subject matter, you guys simply do not have it. So why did you ever choose to engage? I know why. I need case studies for my book. Positivism helped shape the scientific methodology. So you see, when I was consistently wanting to have the conversation on one particular level, methodological naturalism, because all of these aspects come under that umbrella, under that umbrella. Y'all want to, well, they were doing, they were scientific in the like silly, like infantile level discussion. Y'all really do not know how stupid you sound in those particular moments when people who understand this subject go, what are they saying? Y'all have no idea how academia looks at you, especially when we bring academia into the arena. They automatically filter and look at what the idiots are saying. And yes, idiots is the appropriate terminology used. Get out of here. It's Friday, baby. Its legacy remains central in debates involving pseudoscience, conspiracy theories, supernatural claims, and quantum mysticism. We have come full circle, ladies and gentlemen. Let's conspiracy theories. Oh, we got the God energy and the humble with the quantum mysticism. We got every religious nut out there with a supernatural claim, and the pseudoscience is rampant with all these so-called doctors in the community killing y'all, and y'all still buying into the nonsense. This is a Dr. Reggie moment. It's Dr. Reggie moment. We almost there. I'm gonna hit the Dr. Reggie moment. Between the scientific and the rise of positivism, Western thought underwent a profound transformation. It's a process from authority and speculation to observation, experimentation, and evidence. Positivism emerged from centuries of intellectual evolution. Intellectual evolution, the development of thought. Y'all keep looking at the instruments and tools and having redundant and silly conversations because you're intellectually unequipped to have these conversations. Yes, I am going to call Newton a nut. Why? Because I took the time and analyzed his thought process, his frame of reference. And if me calling him a nut humanizes him to the point that our people actually engage with his data and not be scared to take up calculus, because if the nut could have developed it, why can't I? I have done my job. Get out of your goddamn feelings, stay out of the classroom, because you're not equipped to have this conversation. Does that mean I'm undermining his greatness? No. That means I'm humanizing him. You know why? Because his calculus stands for itself. It stands for itself, separate from the man. His work is what it is. Y'all too emotional, too immature to have intellectually mature conversations. This conversation is beyond y'all academic depth. So I'm going to double down. Newton was a zealot and a nut. His work is a result of serendipity, applied, not necessarily because he had a sense of accomplishment. His objective was to reestablish the authority, affirm his God when he was dealing with all of the movements in the opposite direction around him. They took his work and applied it. Because you see, look, not even you could interject a God. Y'all actually need to frame your mind in the right intellectual environment. That's why we're seeing flattening from timelines, false equivocations. That's why we're seeing linear thinking. That's why we're seeing redundancy in the arguments we're having here and calling yourself a scholar. Reggie! From Copernicus in 1543 to Newton in 1687 to Hume in the 18th century to Comte in the 19th. The direction was becoming clear. The direction was becoming clear. Knowledge must be grounded in evidence. And that idea would permanently reshape humanity's understanding of reality. Permanently reshape. There is no other. There is no longer your metaphysical assertions. You guys with your religious tendencies are a relic of the past. I'm sorry. You're in a museum collecting dust. Human understanding has far, far developed beyond these silly notions. Question your own reality. Do not argue with me. Apply the scientific method. Develop scientific thinking. Develop scientific literacy. And the answers will be provided to you by you. Why? Because you would have regained authority over, you would have taken the authority away from the authority, placed it in nature, and observe and understand what nature is actually telling you. That's the presentation for today. I hope y'all enjoy that. Y'all know what time it is. 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 Dun, 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 dun. Oh!
Seems to be the question round here lately. Confirmation bias or research quality.
I dropped the link if anybody want to hit it.
That's a tragedy. Call yourself a scholar, then it's a travesty. You know what's right. Keep it trying to make science black. Who's confuses science with technology? Reggie, is this your idea? Everything, a flame for blackology. A black city tried to contest that affected him.
Emotionally. What you do, what it do, Savior, Savior, what's good, my brother? Sunchild in the building. What it do, gentlemen?
What's up?
Sunchild, you got the flow.
What's up, Sad? What's up? Before Sunchild go, I want you to do me a favor if you can. I want you to
What that?
I want you to bring up this book. Look up an essay concerning human understanding by John Locke. Because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
something there that he said that I love reading, and it's very appropriate for what you just presented. So it's on page 13. I have it pulled up, so you can go ahead and let Sunchild go ahead and try to destroy everything that you said. I want to, but John
Okay.
Locke is going to punch him in his face.
You have, do you have the link up? I can share the link because I got it here. Recapitation, which one of his?
An essay concerning human understanding. It's in the
Yeah, I got it.
It's in the prologue. It's in the epilogue. In the very on page 13. It starts at the Commonwealth of Learning.
My Lord. Concerning you, neither principle nor ideas are innate. Chapter 1. Introduction. Sunchild, go ahead.
Cedric, peace, my man. Yeah, I enjoyed you today, man. You were funny and stuff. Yeah. What's up? What's up, Sabio? Hey, Cedric. Are you gonna have a part two to positivism?
A part 2.
Yeah.
What would the part 2 be, Sunshine?
Well, the part 2 would be post-positivism. Positivism has been dead since the 60s and 70s.
Mm-hmm. So you followed the course. So now let's see how good you do in your work. What is the next natural step in the development? Since we talked about positivism, and if you were listening, you heard me give the Easter egg of what is coming Monday.
What was it? I might have missed that. What's the Easter egg coming? But that's why I asked you if there was a part 2.
I'm not a mod, so I can't share links, but I posted it. But I can share links.
You posted it. Let me see. I'll take it out.
Yeah, I might have missed it. That's why I asked if there's a part 2, because I'm a bit confused. Like
There's
I said,
no part 2.
positivism has been replaced.
There's not part 2. So the question that you asked was in error. You need to ask: is there a follow-up, or is there a response, or is there a further development? And of course, I mentioned Karl Popper, didn't I?
Yeah, but even Karl Popper has challenged positivism. Even Karl Popper challenges positivism. Positivism is dead. What are you doing right now?
So this is the stupidity that I'm not going to deal with. I just kept, mind you, I told him your question is wrong. First of all, there is no part 2 to positivism. There is a further developing step. I told him I left Easter eggs in the presentation. I kept mentioning Karl Popper here and there. Why? Because positivism has its limits. You want falsification, and you want rationalization of that falsification process, right? That's what you want. So knowing that I said that, how are you now going to jump out there and do as if I don't know what I'm talking about? That's the stupidity that I argue against. You're not listening to have a discussion. First, you come up here with a trick 'em question. No, you don't need to trick 'em question. Though that's not necessary. Number 2, yes, there is a further development of this understanding. As with all things, we take it in its respective stages. So we are going to address the limitations of positivism when we understand Karl Popper and rationalism. We're going to do that on Monday. Before I finish, you telling me Karl Popper goes against it? Dummy! Idiot! Moron! Ain't that what I just said? Y'all look for this. Y'all look for it. Because instead of having a conversation, you are trying to do a get me one. And up to now, you don't understand you are not smart enough, son child. You are not. You're simply not. So why insist on trying to do a gotcha? Like I'm gonna clown you every time. You like the abuse. Because now you made
So,
yourself look like a complete moron. Go ahead, Savior.
Oh no, no,
so,
that's fine.
so
That
hold on,
addresses
hold on,
my
hold on.
question directly. Hold on, Savior. That addresses my question directly, Cedric. I wanted to know if you were going to have a follow up on post
No, I'm
positivism,
not having a
and
follow up
and
to positivism. We are going to the next logical development in the philosophy of science. So each
you're
point
not you're
has
not
its
you're not going to
pushback.
mention post positivism.
Oh my God! Why? Listen, okay.
So
What it
let
is
me
you
read
don't.
what I,
So what it is you don't
let
understand?
me
You don't
let
understand
me
the
go.
subject, right?
I want to understand
Let
why
me
you're
move
not
this
going to
forward.
talk
Let me
about
move this
post
forward. Let me
So
move
positivism.
this forward.
let's play with Sunchild for a way. It's Friday. I'm gonna play with my food. Go ahead, Sunchild. Tell me what I'm not doing. Go ahead.
Well,
You
I'm
gotta do it.
asking you, are you gonna
Don't ask
discuss
me
post?
anything because I
I'm
told you, and you insisted on saying. So since you insisted on saying, go ahead, tell the people where I'm wrong and what I'm not doing right. Go ahead. You got the floor.
Well, what I'm missing is that positivism has been replaced. There was a positivism debate back in the 60s and 70s, and pretty much
What
in the
are you talking
philosophical
about?
realm,
Good. So
positivism has been highly
now be
replaced
quiet, be
by
quiet, be quiet. You speak when I
post-positivism.
tell you to speak. So when I say be quiet, you be quiet. Since you put yourself in this position, didn't I say that there is a natural follow-up, which I'm going to discuss on Monday, which is Karl Popper, and I've been giving him hints throughout this episode of the pushback that comes from that, which is called falsification and rationalism. Right? That is a natural evolution in this discourse. You don't know it. You talking, you making up your own words, but the whole thing that comes post positivism, and positivism doesn't go away. Rationality and falsification is added. Why? Because you must always still have a there. Only thing is with positivism, that's not the end conclusion. Falsification gives more value to a positivism. But without positivism, you don't have no there, so there's nothing to test. So again, you are wrong in attempting to undermine what it is I'm doing. So is your ignorance
Well,
correct? And I'm gonna put you on a big stage again. Watch him say some dumb shit. Go ahead.
well, what I'm going to say is that as far as Karl Popper and his falsification, post-positivism even challenges that. So there is a lot of information that I'm interested in hearing you when you continue. That's why I asked if
So,
there's going to be
so,
a
so
follow up.
Sunchild, teach. Go ahead.
Both
Sunchild, teach us about
objectivity and
post-positivism and how
falsification are
that
both challenged
undermines
in
rats.
post
Sunshine,
positivism.
don't. Bye. That's it. You gone. That's it. That's the end of today.
All right.
You gone.
So, and this is why I was going to read what I should have read what I was going to read, because what he says in this essay on concerning human understanding is crucial, because this is the crux in the road they were having in the 1700s when this book was rewritten. All right, he says the commonwealth of learning is not at this time without master builders whose mighty designs in advancing the sciences will leave lasting monuments to the admiration of posterity. But everyone must not hope to be a Boyle or a Sydenham. And we can talk about what he's saying if y'all want.
Go ahead.
And in an age that produces such masters as the great Hugenist and the incomparable Mr. Newton, with some others of that strain, it is ambition enough to be employed as an underlaborer in clearing the ground a little and removing some of the rubbish that lies in the way to knowledge, which certainly had been very much more advanced in the world if the endeavors of ingenious and industrious men had not been much cumbered with the learned but frivolous use of uncouth, affected, or unintelligible terms introduced into the sciences, page 13. Page 13 said,
Go on there. Yeah. There you go.
introduced into the sciences,
Where is it? Where is it?
nah, is that still it? That's probably the intro still. So let me see where it is actually at. So yeah, this is after, keep going. You should scroll down. It should be after the table of contents. It should start, it should say an essay concerning human understanding, 1690 by John Locke. That's the start
I
of
think
chapter
this is
1.
a breakdown. I think this is a breakdown. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Read what you're reading.
And unintelligible terms introduced into the sciences, and there made an art of, to that degree, that philosophy, which is nothing but the true knowledge of things, was thought unfit or incapable to be brought into well-bred company and polite conversation. Vague and insignificant forms of speech and abusive language have so long passed for mysteries of sciences, and hard and misapplied words with little or no meaning have, by prescription, such a right to be mistaken for deep learning and height of speculation, that it will not be easy to persuade either those who speak or those who hear them that they are but the covers of ignorance and hindrance of true knowledge. To break in upon the sanctuary of vanity and ignorance will be, I suppose, some service to human understanding, though so few are apt to think that they deceive or are deceived in the use of words, or that the language of the sect that they are of has any faults in it which ought to be examined or corrected, that I hope I shall be pardoned if I have in the third book dwelt long on this subject, and endeavored to make it so plain that neither the inveteratedness of the mischief nor the prevalency of the fashion shall be any excuse for those who will not take care about the meaning of their own words and will not suffer the significancy of their expressions to be inquired into. So,
And
son child, take all that into account and see how you intentionally lie and mislead people with your fallacious reasoning and questioning and thinking. Because he was going directly at people like you who think that the ancients had science.
so the disingenuousness, what I'm addressing, mind you, you are seeing that I'm taking these subjects step by step by step, right? We're going through the entire process. Positivism still exists. There must be a there. Right? I am not moving beyond the Kantian wall. You, Sunchild, insist on trying to show people that you can move beyond the Kantian wall, and you can't. You simply can't, right? And there are days that I accept the annoyance and days that I don't. When I said we are taking this chronologically in its step, the following step you understand is, hey, it is not sufficient to prove your position. You need to be able to falsify it. When I can't prove it wrong, thereby establishing your claim correct. Positivism says there must be a there, but that's a limitation. Why? Because Freud had a there, and his explanations were unfalsifiable. We are staying within epistemology. We are staying within the philosophy of science. We are not going to play in the noumena. Positivism is still a thing. There must be a there. Positivism is tied to empiricism. Why are you so slow? You're not slow. You're purposely thinking or trying to undermine what we're doing. And this is the saddest thing. Morons, intellectually bankrupt individuals that can't tie their own shoes are really trying to see if they can test their intellectual wit against minds. At some point, then it's not arrogance. It is just annoyance. These are like ticks and fleas, just annoying the shit out of me. Because you can be a contribution to the program. If you want to be annoyance, I give you a room to be annoyance. You cut me off, insisting on doing the stupidity. How do you think making yourself look stupid is a benefit to you? Y'all got kids. Y'all kids are gonna put up on these videos when a grown man is clowning you for the jackass that you actually are. Like, get some life in you. You're making a fool of yourself, and when it's convenient to me, I'll clown you, ragdoll you, put you up there. And when you get beyond the annoyance level, I just boot you. At the end of the day, you make yourself look stupid every time. Every single time. It's like y'all are masochists. Enjoy the abuse. Because all you are is annoyance, and you're annoying the audience as well. Joel, you got the floor.
Peace, man. Sabio, what up, dog?
What up?
Hey, said you was in here cooking. Hey, Sabio, that was a good piece you just read. Hey, said. I wonder what Sunshine was trying. I wonder what he was trying to do. All right, so was he trying to do a Dr. Reggie?
Probably. Right, and being as stupid as can be. First of all, he acts with a leading question, so I trip him up. I say, well, there's no part two, but there's a natural progression to this, and I've been hinting at the caveats throughout this whole Easter egg throughout the whole presentation. I mentioned Popper here and there, and I mentioned his Einstein versus Freud dilemma, right? Because that is the next step, falsification. This is scientific method. Now, he wants to run over and jump behind that Kantian wall again and not understanding, bro, like you're not versed in this subject enough to even talk about it. From the moment you
Yeah.
deny positivism, you're stepping away from empiricism. You're out of the conversation. You slip behind the Kantian wall. I see you coming a mile away. You are not versed enough in this subject to do what you do. You're just making yourself look stupid every
Right.
time. Watch.
So look, you losing your touch, man. I said, is he trying to do a Dr. Reggie? You're supposed to hit the button, man. Let the song play.
Damn.
You're losing your touch, man. But look, all right, so look, I was gonna crack up if you caught it. So look, check it out. So can you can see the chat, right? So it said post-positivism, our chat that's right here. Post-positivism, positivism. It got into the falsification, what you just said,
Exactly.
right? So all it did was strengthen the point that you made,
Exactly.
right? They just simply said that even though you feel like you can observe, we want to make sure your biases don't kick in, like our community always do. Their biases they kick in and they see something that they ain't supposed to be seeing. They say take your work and falsify it, so that we can get your bias that might slip in. We're gonna get that out the way. We need to fall. That's all. That's one of the major points of the post of positivism. You know what I'm saying?
Post-empiricism.
I can't say it.
Certainty. Mind you, we departed from certainty with the introduction to empiricism. We are no longer operating on certainty.
Yeah, you should have let him run. He was going to run right into a brick wall. I don't know what he was trying to prove.
Joel, you know what? when I listen to these conversations, it shows me that a lot of these people didn't take philosophy in high school or in college because it was one of the most boringest classes.
Let me finish reading this here. Let me just
No
finish
cap.
reading this here.
No
It
cap. So
Now
that's
you
why
that
reestablishes
you
that
dead on,
intelligent
Sabio.
objectivity is possible, or or that scientific knowledge is certain. We know that, right? Nothing changed there. We've established that in this series and in the other two series. Instead, it
Hmm.
argues that human knowledge is conjectural, which we talked
Yep.
about, right? Based on conjectures rather than pure observation. We said that. Falsification, Karl Popper replaced verification proving true with falsification, trying to prove false as the hallmark of science, arguing that unobservables can be studied if they are amendable to falsification. Right? We
Hmm.
accepted that. Right? And I talked about that being the next natural step where we move from positivism to falsification. Right now, I'm still on track. I'm still on track. Right? So post
Hmm.
positivism contains all of the things, including falsification. So I didn't reach the falsification yet, right? Because you establish positivism first in your proper curriculum, and then you move to the next natural step in the thought process. So there we go. So I talked to him about that. Now within that, you are going to discuss your biases and the fact that science acknowledges the human biases. And who does that? That is done in the theory of latentness. So everything within the philosophy of science is sequential and is going to come episode by episode. If this
Yep.
episode focuses on positivism, and I tell you that we are going to deal with falsification next, and I gave the Easter eggs, why the hell would you be up here trying to undermine again what I'm doing? You're being a moron. You're just being a
Yeah.
moron.
so
He was gonna hit the brick wall. All you have to do was let him run.
yeah, he was.
And I'm a,
He was going to hit the brick wall, but he hit the brick wall in this whole conversation. That's why I was like, what? He don't even understand that his argument is going to lead him into where we are. Like you
Moron.
don't. It's like,
Moron.
what
Reading
are
quick,
you
quick, quick,
missing?
as if he's gonna do a catch you. Like this is a pedagogic endeavor. I take it sequence by sequence. I told y'all there's two things you need to read: the philosophy of science and the history of science. The history of science is a quick read. The philosophy of science is a 4 or 5 year study. Y'all not ready. Y'all ain't been ready. You're not gonna be ready. And I'm doing this academically. I'm breaking stuff down. My agenda, it speaks before me. I am humanizing these individuals. One, so that they are not in a glass shelf. They are human beings, valuable just like the rest of us. The whole study, Comte talked about three distinct epistemic regimes. The work
So,
we are doing here is postgraduate work. It is not for the layman. It is not for every day. This work is postgraduate work that I'm synthesizing in a way to make it palatable. We are having discussions that y'all guys would never have had before. Nobody
so
likes to
say,
talk about philosophy. It's boring. Go ahead, Tibio.
so there was something you mentioned about Newton earlier, and you said something about him trying to prove God,
Yeah, that
and
was his
and
philosophical framework.
and right, and people don't know that all. And you said that his mathematics, his calculus, his equations were correct. That we were able to build on. Where was the break? It was when they were like, no. So there was people who was like, huh? God, no, how you just gonna get us up to God? You did all this work with your brain, and when you ran out of answers, you say God, you say there's a creator. We don't accept this.
Yeah, they didn't need that because, of course, at this point, you have the humanist, you have Hume. This is the environment Newton is working in. He is pushing back against these philosophical frameworks.
Mhm.
He's pushing back against them because he wants to maintain the status quo. He was part of the status quo guy. You got two camps. You got the status quo camp and you got the anti-establishment camp.
Yeah,
He was firmly in the establishment camp. And he was disappointed that his mathematical endeavor did not accomplish his initial feat, which was to prove all of them wrong. I'm going to show you God. I'm smarter than the average bear. I'm going to prove you God by means of my mathematics. That is
man,
what
my
he was
math
attempting.
proved God.
Hey, Cedric.
Yes,
Will you let Sunchild back up to try to explain what he was supposed to be arriving at, or you don't want him on?
you gonna handle him. That's fine. We're a team. You want to ragdoll him a bit. So go ahead. I'm gonna let you have it.
I don't want to rag down. See what he was. I want to know where he was going. Where the heck was he going? I'm kind of confused.
What I read Ragdoldy because he delved in he lived in the ignorance of humanity, and because we are quick to say we don't know, there's always that if that he
Right.
that he lives in. So there's always that possibility because humanity hasn't figured out everything, and that's where he lives.
All right, go ahead, Joel.
All right, Sunchild. What was the point you was making, man? Because I'm kind of
The
lost.
point I'm making is that there was a debate in positivism in the 60s and the 70s, and there emerged a new movement called post-positivism, and it challenged the empiricism of Karl Popper and others like that with regards to observation and falsification. And it has moved toward...
Source up. I don't believe you. Source up.
Well, what was the outcome? What was the outcome from it?
The outcome is that positivism is considered dead, and it's more or less a term of abuse when you consider philosophy and its application.
So you're lying at this point. You need to source up. Don't say another word unless you pull a source, because you're lying. You're lying.
Yeah, because that sounds like strong.
Why'd you end your presentation on positivism in the 19th century? We're in the
Pull
21st
a
century,
source
Cedric.
now. You're lying.
I'm not pulling.
Bye. Now you don't get to come back.
Okay, never mind.
Don't know. So now he's a philosophy major.
Like in my presentation, right? In the presentation, when I showed you the first slide with the Vienna boys, right? The Vienna boys, that was in the first conference. The second picture, you saw that very modern picture. That was the Vienna Circle 2026. This man is like he's a liar, bro.
Yeah, I guess because he's trying to dead anything that is being said.
Yeah.
You know, like what you presented. Because he's trying to make it seem like something's wrong with it. He went to the post-positivism, but they did that to get the researchers bias. Yeah, they're trying to get the bias out.
Yes, post-positivism is the introduction of falsification, right? And falsification is not anti-empiricism. This is all within empiricism. So,
yeah, how's that a gotcha moment?
Yeah, Sunchild came up here to convince us that science isn't
what I
science
noticed, and it's not only Sunchild, it's a lot of them. It's like because they haven't taken these courses thoroughly and to an extent, it's like they're mixing them all into one bread basket.
No.
Sabio, I haven't taken no course, Sabio.
Hold on.
They are trying to get gotcha moments, Sabio.
But
Sabio,
but
listen to what he said. Why did you stop at positivism? Why did you stop at positivism? Because he realized that there's something past positivism.
Past positivism, right?
Positivism for him means it's anti, because he never read it. He doesn't understand it.
Right,
Right, but I did a simple Google search and I get it.
right. And,
He wants
and,
a gotcha
but see,
moment.
but see,
That's what he's trying to get, a
Oh,
gotcha moment. And
and
that's why
the
he's falling flat on his face. It's the gotcha moment.
this is
exactly,
And
crazy.
and that's
why
why.
do you think you're gonna get a gotcha moment when I'm telling you just to read this stuff, not to understand it, just to read this stuff is gonna take you a couple of years. Now you want
Damn.
to read on the flyby and think you can come up here and like Sunchild, I am not learning this stuff. I am presenting it. I am not learning on the fly. I'm here presenting it because I know this stuff. I know the next program. You think
Right.
the presentations aren't ready? They are prepared in sequence, Sunchild. So you're making yourself look ridiculous. And when given the opportunity, you downright lie. That's hilarious.
So there's a book that I mentioned. I can't remember. I think it's a collection of scholars, but it's a history of a short history of Western philosophy. Like, y'all need to read that. I actually read that whole boring ass book. I actually had the physical copy. I let a friend use it, and she hasn't given it back. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm gonna ever get it back. To keep it real, because it was some years ago that I let her use. So that book probably lost. But anyway,
It is. Joel, go ahead, Joel.
you have to read those types of books to understand the developmental stages of this shit. Like, these things just don't pop up. And what's crazy is when you actually look at it, without the historical method, the establishment of the scientific and the historical method, we would have no, we wouldn't be able to have these conversations. We like, what are you guys talking about? These methods
Uh,
had to develop. Like, the historical method and the scientific method go together. Do y'all not see how they work in tandem? I'm talking
let me
about
say,
those who don't know how to use them correctly. That's why these conversations aren't that difficult for those who have some historical backing and understand how to use history, because now they can see how these disciplines run together. You
Let
can't
me say
separate
shout
the
out to
scientific
Chill.
method.
Chill, it's been a minute since I seen you, my bro. I know you're working hard, head down, but good to have you back in the building. Peace, peace to our good brother Chill, the professor himself. The all the information is stored. If Chill got all the information you need, he is one of the resources that we rely on in the Discord. He has always centered Chill, grounding figure of the organization. Good to have you in the building, my brother. Good to have you in the building.
You can't separate the scientific method from the historical method and think that you're going to actually be on point. Why? Because somewhere in your analysis, you're going to miss a step. That's why a lot of these people are lost. They're willing to use parts of the historical method and discard the scientific method.
See, he's insisting on his ignorance. Again, post positivism contains
Challenges the
positivism,
verification.
contains rationalism, and contains the concept of your the theory of laterness, right? So you got to check for your biases. That's what make the peer review process so empirical and so foundational to the scientific process, right? Why are you challenging a lesson, a class which establishes a particular paradigm when you know Monday we are going to deal with what you want to call post positivism, which is the falsification. That is the correct term we use, the falsification, introduced by Karl Popper and developed within its own right. Monday, that is the subject. Now that you insist on making yourself look stupid, insist on doing it. Now you're doubling down
So,
on your stupidity.
so he is, and if you actually understand, because as Joel said, a quick Google search, Post-positivism is a research paradigm acknowledging that an objective reality exists, but can never be fully understood or proven by humans due to inherent biases and limitations. Unlike pure positivism, it assumes observations are imperfect and therefore
We
focuses
know.
on falsifying hypotheses rather than verifying absolute truth.
Oh
Dumb
boy.
child.
Listen. I got a question here about the this. I've been following it, so I'm gonna take center stage for a second and talk about hantavirus for a second. Yes, it's there's an outbreak, and why we consider it an outbreak? Because it is usually contained within a particular geography. Now it is has spread. The risk is low because of the vector. You need to be in close proximity for increased time, right? And extreme close proximity. The viral shed is low, so it requires a significant amount of time. Um, the problem we're facing now, and that's where field what you call that stuff? Epidemiology has to take over and move fast. They need to isolate and quarantine as much of these people off that ship and contact made during travel. Um, uh, I'm not sure if the Dutchman, if they got on the aircraft or they died at the airport, but they have been tested positive and subsequently died. The gentleman was back in the Netherlands before his symptoms started. So the question is, how many people and how many proximity did contact reach? Because of the vector not being easily transmittable, right? I did not do significant research to see how the vector actually works, but it is said to be close proximity for increased period of time. So this automatically tells me something about the ship's protocol, right? First of all, that ship has a rodent infestation in the ship itself, so that's not something brought on board. Um, there's a rodent infestation on the ship, and the overall sanitization plan and process of that particular vessel is not up to standard. The ship industry, knowing that they deal with norovirus, there are particular sanitization steps put in place to prevent the spread of contact the agents. However, if you have a structural infestation with the rodents, you can cause this particular virus to to make the zoonotic jump, and there's a particular strain that is passed from human to human. So um, it is an issue. It is something that that we're following. The risk, however, is extremely low. The risk is low because of the proximity that contact must be made. So take that into consideration. Although monitor developments around the world, the rate of travel that we do as human beings, uh, it can become an issue. However, at current, it's being monitored and the risk is relatively low. So take precautions. I do not particularly like cruises and these type of things because of my public health background and proximity and viral contamination, etc. So I am particularly not a fan of cruising industries, and here you see another communicable viral outbreak directly related to that industry. So um,
I'm going
that,
on a cruise next month, man.
that's what I could say about
They
that
done
stuff.
shook me.
No, well, you're not. Your geography and where you're taking the ship from, those risks are minimal. I think this ship comes from South America, and I have no idea what their
I'm going
sanitization
into the
protocol.
Caribbean. Where that one come from?
Those
Did that
ships
come
are
from the
usually
Caribbean?
no, those ships are usually coming out of the U.S. and then they have very strict and high sanitation protocols. The initial cruise companies like Norwegian Cruise and these things, they have strict protocols in place. Although it is part of the that ecosystem, right? Communicable diseases, especially when people take trips in January, February, and there's where you have the highest risk. Why? Because these viruses are active in in the northern hemisphere, in the northeastern hemisphere of the United States and North America. So yeah, you have an increased risk of norovirus spread. But that ecosystem is famous for the spread of communicable diseases. It just is what it is. It's a risk we take, huh? You want to have the
Yeah,
fun, you take the risk.
I dropped the article on it in the chat earlier today. They don't have no vaccines or nothing for it, so I mean, you kind of like you just at the mercy of the hospital being able to work on you quick and your immune system being strong enough right now. So
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say much. Um, they probably can develop a vaccine relatively quickly for this, based on a new technology, depending on how it works. I haven't done any research on its vectors and what type of attack profile, if it's respiratory, yes or no, if it's a double strand or single strand virus. I haven't done any research on it. However, with our new vaccine delivery system and development system, you can um, you can uh, you can develop a vaccine relatively quickly. The thing is, with the pandemic, the vaccine made economic and financial sense, right? You develop a vaccine, you're going to use billions of dollars, and you want billions of people to want it or need it. When you have this type of epidemic, where it's short-lived, very limited outbreak capacity, the incentive to develop a vaccine is less, right? So this is unfortunately the politics of science. This is the politics of science. Scaling, financial responsibility. By the time you've developed the vaccine, it has already quarantined itself and fizzled out. It hasn't gone anywhere, but it's under the surface. SARS one, Mars one. These developed so fast, so deadly, that they didn't have time to really spread. But whoever they infected, they destroyed. Now, developing a vaccine for a virus that has already ran its course is, isn't financially responsible. So with that, we you know what? Since I was playing doctor for a second,
Emotionally, Reggie came loaded with more pseudo-foolery. In another battle, he lost horribly. Obviously, Reggie, you're not ready. Ideology got you looking stupid, silly, squinting his eyes. When he lies, its look is ugly. You will never beat me. I got no emotions, no ideology. That's the difference between you and me. Oh, and don't try that.
Joel, that's your fault.
I was waiting for that part right there, son. You grooving, man, on that show. That's a throwback. That's a throwback tune right there.
Ladies and gentlemen, the God Killer in the building. We're about to
Yeah.
round up this show because I see you going live. We're all heading over to the God Killer Community of Skeptics in just a little bit. Am I right?
I thought I was. I fell asleep.
That's because you working too hard, bro.
God killed
You
myself.
done worked yourself.
I went live earlier. Went to work, had some work. Then God killed myself. I was asleep. I said, dang. I
Well,
was
I'm
listening to
live.
you. I'm gonna hit the button. I was listening to you. I said, I'm gonna hit the button. I was like knocked out. I said, man, look. I forgot I even had a show, but I'm going to go. That's just funny as hell, yo. That's hilarious, yo. Crazy. Yeah, I gotta go live. I got this is my day to go live on community
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So I was just looking at the time. I say we're gonna round it off just about
What
now.
time I got the show set for?
You supposed to be going live in about 20 minutes.
Shit. What time? Oh, it's 7. I put it for 7?
Oh shoot, this man, he ain't
Damn.
gonna make it.
I thought it was what time I got on? Nah, I thought I had it earlier than that.
Yeah, we
Shit.
came on. It was a
I'm gonna look at it.
notification. Let me see.
I think we man down right now. We man down.
Yeah, it was a good one. I had fun. Of course, Sunchild
What
with his concept don't understand the subject all over the place.
what was he talking about? Nothing. Of course not.
610. You should have been
Yeah,
live a
he
half
up a
hour
great
ago.
debunk himself. He
Yeah,
don't he up a great
debunking
debunk
it.
himself. So I just shouldn't let him just talk. He should let him talk. He want to
You
debunk
ain't
himself.
lying. Man.
Man. So this
6:10.
was
That
Yo,
ain't even
yeah,
real
guess what he
time.
did? Guess
6:10. What the hell time is that? I must have been asleep. Putting that
yeah,
at.
yeah, you was
610.
yo, go
That's early.
you hit the button with one eye open. One eye open.
I said that joint for
Eyes was blurry.
6:10.
You couldn't really see.
Man, listen, the other
I'm
day,
gonna go.
Oh
I got a
shoot.
good hour. I got a good 2 hours in me though. Not
yeah.
yet. I'm gonna let y'all keep rocking. I ain't ready yet.
Mhm. So today's episode, of course, we discussed. You reached to the point there. You know the thing I do. How do I distinguish imagination from truth? Right, fact from fiction. So positivism established that. Remember that back in the 20s and in the
How's
early
it going,
days,
man?
everything was science. But in this series, like we said, chop it up, do it piece by piece, and it works, right? We take it step by step and we keep building. Today was positivism. In the presentation, I'm giving Easter eggs talking about Karl Popper, right? Because Karl Popper comes after positivism. He said, hey, it's not enough to prove your stuff right. You need empiricism, yes, but I need to be able to prove it wrong. Falsification. And the acknowledgement, right, with the Leiden theory, the acknowledgement of our individual biases as humans. But this is the follow up. Sunchild is trying to create an argument as if there is something missing or something that is incomplete or didn't do. And I'm like, that's Monday's episode. We go 3 days a week and we are putting this down sequentially, academically, and taking our time, humanizing these individuals. He's insisting on talking about post positivism when today's topic was positivism. Like these people have no academic integrity, no rigor. You're not accustomed to being in a classroom. Can't you stick to the subject? I know what is coming. You're not teaching me. It's not a gotcha moment. It's none of that. And now he is assuming that somehow post positivism is undermining or denying empiricism. Out of your academic depth. Why do they do it? I don't know. Just learn. Just learn. Go through the process of learning. No, you want to argue and argue from an incoherent place. This is the weirdest thing. That's like raw chess. You are arguing from an incoherent place. You do not understand this subject. Admit that you don't know it, yet want to argue. How is that possible? This is natural philosophers 101. Yeah, you got God. You in the 19th century, son. Man, listen. Oh boy. Share my screen. Do-do. Ba-bum.
People make up arguments to have arguments. That's what it is.
Yeah. Animation from current slide. This slide. You know what this is? This is the Vienna Circle 2026. They still have these conferences, reaffirming, analyzing, and this is 2026. How I'm in the 19th century, sunshine. This is the Vienna Circle 2026. This photo here is to show you that it's a living testament. This is where it started, 1920s, 1930s. This is where it is today, sunshine. Everything I do is methodical because I'm aware of you coons out there and morons who are simply here to undermine the work we are doing.
Now y'all recognizing I wasn't lying when I was calling these people morons. I may have been a little bit preemptive with my strike, but I was right on point.
Oh man. By all means necessary. This ignorance is a thing, bro.
What did Unc tell me long time ago? Unc told me you're a little bit ahead of other people. They just got to catch up with you, Sadie. That's what he told me long time ago. I still remember that, Unc.
Yeah, you better. I remember you hipped everybody to the proto racism.
Yep.
That was a good catch right there. That was. It seemed obvious, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Proto, not racism, but proto
Yeah.
shit. You know what I'm saying?
Colorism.
Not colorism. That ain't to call the shit. When you start naming motherfuckers after them being black, like
Yeah.
you start
Well, we
identifying people the color of their skin. You gotta. It don't just. Don't just dive there. It's a transition period to get there.
Right.
Nobody talked about that for you did.
So if we have now something called the falsification method, don't you think it overrides the verification method? Like, isn't that what we're saying, bro? That's
What?
exactly the follow up to positivism. This, what you're talking about here, Sunshine, what you're describing on the screen here, is what we call falsification. We no longer look to verify one's position, we look to falsify it, Sunshine. But verification was a step in the development to where we are today. Hey, my doing, my brother Praxis, good to have you back on the panel. Praxis, good to have you back on the panel, my brother. You got the floor. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You got the floor, Praxis. Welcome back.
1, 2, 3. Testing.
Practice. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I maybe having some temp. His mic is open, maybe, but I don't see why he's not. All right, go ahead, Savior.
No, I was waiting on Praxis.
Oh, there he goes. I think he's having some connection difficulties. He'll probably be back. Brother was asking some good questions yesterday.
I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Got the floor, brother. How you doing? Good to have you back.
Man, it's great being back. I missed the show, didn't I?
Yeah, we go.
Oh,
CedTalks is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 4:30. You got the space show on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. You got the med show on Sunday at 9 o'clock, and you got Sunday morning 10:30. You got Sunday school with the PK. Thursdays 4:30. You got the hit the button show, and Saturday it's a wild card. We just go crazy.
okay, nice.
So pretty much every day, 4:30, you'll find us here. So
Nice, nice. I'm gonna go back and watch it. Because I just wanted to say that I'm a true layman. You guys are like edifying me on the knowledge that you are teaching people here. I did want to say, even those fallacious arguments are entertaining.
To an
Yeah,
extent,
I
when
use
you
them.
make
I
that,
use them to my advantage. But what I don't want is a disruptive show. So if you make a claim, right, I allow you the room to make the claim, but then I'm going to go through the process of analyzing your claim. I'm not arguing with you back and forth. I don't validate an invalidable position. I execute a dissection of an invalid position. I don't validate your false position by arguing with you back and forth. So if you have the discipline to do that, then it's fine. If not, then I'm not going to entertain someone that is purposely trying to disrupt the show.
one of the first things I learned from is don't ever acquiesce to a faulty premise.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
Hell
go.
no, yo. We still stuck in the fucking is the damn scientist and I get out of here, man. It's a faulty
Do
fucking
Hello?
but do I acquiesce to it? Do I acquiesce to it?
we did. We acquiesced all into it. I'm all deep into
I
it.
did.
I
I did.
don't even care about whether Newton is a damn scientist or not. Like, come on, yo. It was faulty premise the whole way.
I was like, but see this whole
Contrast.
time, I was trying to get people to look at it from the religious aspect because that's the way they view the world. That's why I wouldn't. That's why I always presented it from the Hermetic hypothesis approach, so they could understand it because that's the way they looked at the world, and that's the way most of the people who think that those people have science are looking at the world. So I tried to give it to them in their language, but they were too slow to catch it.
That was that note.
Oh, my brother Praxis, someone's gonna drop the link to the Discord. Goose, can you do me a favor? Drop the link to the Discord. I would appreciate you joining the Discord. It's where we do all the learning, where we have all the resources, and where we get in the Discord and have discussions and we chop it up and we come to clarity on subjects that all of us don't understand. And it's a perfect place for someone who wants to learn. See, I may be good in one subject, but then you have Brother Ankh, who's expert, whose expertise or is well versed in evolution and anthropology. How you go about researching what stuff is good to read, right? This is one of the strongest. Sorry about that, Goose. Someone need to make Goose a mod in the
And,
YouTube.
and make me.
So we're gonna get the link drop there for the Discord, so that you can join that. That's where we do the homing and the real academic aspect of what we do. That's what we do there. When we do these presentation here, it is a resource base where you can actually pull the data, etc. But it's in the Discord where we get the work really done. JJ, what it do, JJ?
Uh-oh.
What up, little buddy?
I'm good. You're
What's
on
up
the
with
big
you?
screen, JJ.
You all right? Yeah,
I'm good.
man.
I'm good. How you
Hey,
doing?
let me tell you something, Cedric. You like my student,
Right.
bro, all right? So when I'm teaching
Mm-hmm.
you things, I don't want you to take it personal. This is for
Mm-hmm.
the edification of, for you to understand things. You hear me? Now, y'all just sit
Thank
up
you,
here and
brother.
made a claim the other day. And first, shout out to the pseudo killers, man, and thank y'all for supporting me when I came over and did my show. I got the most views on this platform that y'all never had in about a year and a half. See, that's why you should add me to the pseudo killers. I can bring the views. I bring the real information and the views. See, Cedric, you got 30 people in here, but if I starring over here, you're gonna get about 40 people in the audience every time I show up. That's right. But hey, you made a claim yesterday, and I went and did my research about this one certain situation. I'm talking about proper English. Now I sit on
Proper English.
to
The Matrix got you. The Matrix got you.
ever get in front of us again and say there's a such thing as proper English. See, the problem is it's the science behind the way the African Americans and Africans talk versus the Caucasians. Now the larynx, our larynx is a little bit longer than theirs. So our enunciation and vocalization won't sound like this. You know, hey, my name is Fish Hair. That is on purpose when these guys do this. Just because you talk like them doesn't make you going to get a further chance in life. Because I sent you the science behind that. And I want all y'all in the audience to go out there and do your studies. And then Uncle 7,000 is going to come back and test you on it. You hear me? That being said, goddamn it, the people champ is out, signing out. Shalom, barakatah.
Rocket the die rockets, the rockets.
That guy's funny.
The rocket the die, rocket die.
Ladies and gentlemen, my show has its very own unique rubric. There's always a comedic portion that JJ supplies us with. You have to appreciate JJ's entertainment. You gotta love JJ. JJ's family. JJ is family. Every family has its dysfunctional members, and JJ, you love him to death. Ain't no way you're gonna get around it. He's here every day, and he's gonna make his contribution. Thank you, JJ, man, for your support.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious, bro.
You gotta love JJ, man.
There's a science behind the way that we say certain, the way that we inflect our voice. What?
Oh man, that was hilarious, JJ. Look, we articulate the way we articulate ourselves because of the vocabulary we're using, and it's nothing wrong. The problem is, JJ, it's the other side of the metal. It's the fact that we get ridiculed for speaking the way we do. Juju experienced that, Grant experienced that, I've experienced it, I'm experiencing it with my children as well, right? So there's a particular sensitivity to that subject. I have a Caribbean accent, and I'm proud of my Caribbean accent. I do not hide it, but I try to articulate myself as coherently and clearly as possible. I take into account the grammar that I use, right? Because it's important. Now, we are ridiculed for that. That was the subject matter. No one talked about who speaks proper and don't speak proper, and it's not an issue, right? Communication happens in all forms and fashion, and we down no one for their ability to communicate yes or no. I'll tease you on some words here and there, modern ring, because we're in the arena taking jabs at each other. But clearly, the words, your vocabulary, I do not connect that to any particular ethnicity, culture, or creed or race. What y'all attempting to do is to make us seem less black, less African, less authentic, less real because of the words we choose to use. And that is a disingenuous issue there, not the other way around. No one on this side feels that you're inferior or that you can't have a measure of success. And Juju was right. When you go to an interview, y'all, what you saying, bro? I came here for the job, man. You got some work for me to do? Shit, I can do that. Man, that ain't no problem. Yeah, come on, give me that job. Shit, nigga, I can do that. I'll be moderating all this stuff that I can do. I can do that, motherfucker. You, how? Who?
You think you finna get the job?
I'm finna get his job. Am I finna get his job?
I'm finna get a job.
Like
you can get a job with that.
Here in the Caribbean, they come and say, so what are you saying? Young man, we going on the road, man. Huh? What? You're making a statement. You're supposed to be asking me a question. I do not understand the jargon that you speak. So what are you saying? You go on the road, man? We didn't have a conversation. You're concluding as if we had a conversation and now you're rounding off the conversation. I do not follow that. I simply don't. Now, I ain't saying that that you need to stop, like every neighborhood, everybody who got its, but you have to be able in a professional setting to articulate yourself professionally. I'll get off this and go, yo, what are you saying? Yeah, and start to speak in my local vernacular, but it makes no sense to do that on such a platform. Who is going to understand what I'm saying? When your objective is to communicate, then you have to resort to a medium which is understood by all involved. And the better and more precise you are able to use the words allocated to you, The most
Well,
precise and specific you are able to articulate certain words is only the clarity that increases when you're trying to deliver a message.
you know
So
what?
don't move the goalposts on that one either. Go ahead.
You know what? When I was growing up, my mother and stepfather used to tell me, and dad used to tell me, those big words make you sound smart. So learn to use them. So I wanted to learn the definitions of them, how to spell them, the meanings, and all that. That's why I won spelling bees and shit in the 5th and 6th grade at my schools and shit. But hey, I guess
I
that
still
shit
make
helped me.
mistakes, brother. And my brother Praxis, yeah, if you
Yes.
can copy this link, right? That'll take you to our Discord. And in the Discord is where you can ask all your
Better than
questions.
the words.
You can discuss any topic you want discussed. We take our time and go as far in as we can, provide you with the resources, and where necessary, we take the time and actually read through the data and analyze these concepts and articulate them holistically as possible. So it's a learning environment. We are we have very not super strict, but there's a decorum and a certain class and level that is maintained there. There's no profanities. There's absolute 100 respect for women. Our organization is ran by two central ladies that we all respect. One of them is on the screen. Shout out to Juju, good Juju, bad Juju, and Miss Tiff. These are the backbones and the brains and the everything of the organization, the glue, the structure, what you see here, my decorum, this level of organization and professionalism is on the backs of these two ladies. So those are some of the prerequisites, and when you are in the Discord, it is necessary that you engage. Those are just some of the parameters of being in Discord. Other than that, it is fair game. We get it in. We do not pull punches. With regards to academia, there is no holy grails. Nothing is sacred. If you're wrong, you're wrong. You'll get beat up as necessary. Trust me, I have my scars to prove it, as we all do. But it's a great learning environment. So I hope you join the Discord, my brother.
Yeah, I will do so. And also, I want to say about the vernacular. One of the reasons why I come to your channel, and I like seeing you on. I think you was on Pseudo Killers.
Yeah,
I
this
used to
is so
watch
good.
that. Yeah, and Sarnetta Studios. Um, I used to always enjoy your cadence and diction,
Thank
and
you.
that's part of the reasons why I like come to uh these platforms where education can be at the forefront, and proper speech, respect of one another. I enjoy that, and then it's like a fight with knowledge, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, there are certain elements about us as a culture and a people. We appreciate combat, right? It is part of being African. We love to argue. Um, so you take our natural instincts and you put that into a formula that helps us to grow. So instead of having arguments that have us running behind our tails, I rather have a helix type of argument that we continue to argue, but in some way moving forward. So every argument that we have to upgrade the lexicon. We have to move the discourse forward, right? And in that sense, I love to debate. I love to argue. I'm a champion at catching fallacies and this sort of stuff. Not in a combative or in a derogatory way, but it's to sharpen my own wit and skill, and also change the narrative in the community. Far too often, we are having redundant conversations that are going nowhere, right? Because they are not grounded in any proper epistemic framework. So now, when we clearly understand what metaphysical assertions is, that we rely on empiricism, that there's a Kantian wall that you can't pass, right? This makes This forces the level of discourse away from arbitrary assertions and into tangible grounding concepts. Right now, we are moving away from my grandmama said so and old outdated philosophical notions and actually have to engage with what is happening in the real world and in real time, right? A scientific literacy, again, if you fundamentally get that, is going to force you to make better decisions for you, yourself, your family, and thus the community at whole. If you want to see a different world, you start with one concept at a time, one individual at a time. And eventually, the hope is that you get there, but you can only start to see the change in your immediate and direct environment. And I think we're doing that.
And you don't start with your assumptions, because your assumptions could always be proven what?
Wrong. Wrong.
And that's
Follow the evidence.
Assumptions. You said assuming things can be proven wrong.
all the time.
Yeah.
So is that a for lack of a better term, is assumptions a pejorative in trying to figure out the baseline or the goal of what you're trying to reach, the knowledge you're trying to get?
So let's put it into context. There's a particular phenomena, right? I see the phenomena. Instinctively, you go into your deductive reasoning. I'm starting to try to process what I'm seeing. So I'm using my eyes, I'm using my rationality. That's where you start. What becomes a problem if you assume that your deductive reasoning is conclusively correct?
Okay.
So that's the starting place. Now you engage in the process of falsifying that position. Okay? How do I go about to establish if this is actually what it is I'm experiencing? That process is the second step. Why? Because you have adopted a system of analysis whereby you say, I do not trust my assumption. If you rely on your assumptions, you are staying within a Cartesian frame of reference where reason is enough to understand the natural world around us. And that lets us to the point that we believe the sun rises and sets when we know better now because we did not rely on that initial assumption.
Right.
So let me give you my thought on what you just said.
Go ahead.
So it's like don't make statements, ask questions.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
to an extent.
Yes.
Yes. Your statement should only follow the conclusive evidence that can be supported by evidence. So if you were to go outside and say there's a tree in your yard, we may not be able to see the tree in your yard, but based off of evidence of trees, we could assume that there could be a tree in your yard. Now, we could be wrong, but the assumption should be there. Why? Because trees are where? In people's yards. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah. So until you find out
Bring it
that there's
back
a
to what
tree.
you were saying. You're absolutely right. So when you see a particular phenomenon, instead of attempting to describe it, you ask questions about it. Asking questions is the process. Assuming knowledge is the fallacy. So you're right. You're going to ask a question. You're not going to make a statement. You're going to ask a question. And those questions are going to automatically require clarification. That brings you into the experimental phase. This is when you go through the process of falsifying your hypothesis. So that analogy you just made, you need to lock that one in and don't ever forget it. The moment you
Yeah.
see yourself attempting to make a statement about a particular phenomena, that's when your deductive reasoning has taken over and your skepticism has gone to the back. You see a particular phenomena and you're asking questions about it because you require questions lead to knowledge. statements are made either after the knowledge is acquired or through mere reasoning. And if done through mere reasoning, like Sabio said, the likelihood of you being wrong is almost guaranteed.
Yeah. So that a tree analogy was awesome because I think of, you ask questions. If I say there's a tree in my yard, and then you're gonna ask me where I live, what kind of soil it is, according to the knowledge is what you have of what sort of tree grows
That's
in certain
uh,
soils in different areas. I can't say I got a palm tree and I live in Canada.
the
Bingo.
value, the value that I gave to your statement is proportionate to the ontological premise that already exists, right? So if you
Right.
tell me you have a tree in your yard and you live in Atlanta, the likelihood, or you live in a country, the likelihood could be true, but you could be lying because you could be living on a farm that is cut flat for grassland, right? But
Yeah.
the ontological premise that exists allows me to assume, right,
Mm,
through justified belief that it might be. Like if I say I have a dog, we all have dogs. That's not far fetched. If I tell you I
right.
have a lion, now the evidence requirement goes up a notch because lions do exist, but there aren't no lions living walking around free in the Caribbean, so you to have free access. If you're sitting here on YouTube, where is this lion then? Because it's not in your living that
A
there is
red
none.
dragon,
You
unless
can
it's a red,
assume,
unless it's
yeah,
like
but
a
a
red
stuffed dog,
lizard
a
or
stuffed
something,
dog.
a red
So the
lizard or
question so the question is, in that analogy, where's the testing coming from? Is it in the questions?
That's where we walk around. This is how we process that. Where that is concerned, it is establishing how we reason through our life, right? It is showing people that we operate on a deductive basis on a daily basis, right? And we do that instinctively. We have accumulated information, we have accumulated knowledge, right, by means of our experience. And we go through that deductive reasoning process on a daily, right? And the evidence that is required, if you think about going through your day, the evidence that is required to quantify a statement, right, is based on the ontological weight of that statement.
Hmm.
I have a father. There is no necessity for me to demonstrate that. That's
right,
ontologically sound. There is no way that I can exist without being the product of an without being the offspring of another human being, necessarily a male individual. I may not know my father. My father may be dead. I may have
right,
never met my father. But the
right,
mere fact that I said, I have a father, you require no extra evidence for that because that is self evident. There is no way that I can be here without having had a father.
So that's an
So,
axiom.
yes. So there's
Okay.
no evidence that I would need to have to give you for that. There's no way that I could be here without a father. But if I
right,
told you that I got here, let's say I got to New York today in my private jet, right? The size of the president's Air Force One, based on computation, deductive reasoning, for you to accept that, you are going to require an exorbitant amount of evidence. I can't just say that. I can't even just show you a picture. It would not be enough to show you a picture with me standing at the bottom of the airplane. There would, because this is not substantiation enough. That's
right,
evidence, but that isn't evidence of me owning that plane.
right,
That isn't evidence of me having flown from St. Martin to New York on that plane. I would have
right.
to
That's
show you the manifesto. I would have to show you a bill of sale. There'll be a lot more required Even though private jets do exist, Cedric is a human entity. These two things do exist. However, for me to own that jet, there's a prerequisite of requirements that would need to be fulfilled. I haven't demonstrated any of these prerequisites. What, why would you assume validity in that statement? Then you require more evidence. But that process to require more evidence is your deductive reasoning happening again. So, as human beings, we do not get away from that process of deductive reasoning.
No,
So you can't be a bum. So you can't be a bum on the street begging for change saying that I got a jet. You need evidence for that.
Exactly. You can't, but nobody's gonna believe you.
Right.
So the whole idea, evidence is something paramount within our nomenclature, within our understanding, within our engagement with reality. However, there comes a very specific and unique moment when we suspend the need for evidence and accept concepts without axioms or outside of axioms that are possible, without any evidence to support them, and without any natural laws that would make them possible.
that's
That's the dual nature of the conversation.
yeah, that's abductive reasoning.
Abductive.
Yeah,
So why would we use abductive if there's no axiom?
because abductive reasoning basically are concrete truths that doesn't need an axiom. You're breathing,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
No axiom needed.
Yeah. Well, the axiom is that I'm speaking to you and you can hear me. I think that would be an axiom that I'm
Nope.
breathing.
Nope.
What? Because I could be AI or something like that.
Bingo.
Oh.
So
But then there you go with the testing. You have to ask the questions. You can't assume.
no, I don't. Why?
Oh.
Because you're a living being at this point. And if you're a living being, then there's certain things that I can
I think you're
automatically.
missing the point I was trying to make, Xavier. I was talking about the suspension of your rationalism, your rationale, which we engage in on a daily, to accept metaphysical or supernatural assertions about reality without any evidence. This is where you suspend all reason, all logic, all deductive and inductive reasoning. It is simply suspended because there is nothing to support the assertions made about within the supernatural or
Oh,
uh,
talking about supernatural.
supernatural sphere. So
Oh, okay.
that's where the whole premise of how you engage with reality is suspended, and you engage in some sort of special pleading to allow for these supernatural concepts to exist.
My
There
fault.
are
I
no
guess.
axioms. There are no axioms within which they become an actuality. None whatsoever.
God did it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy. I mean, if you
that's the
believe
proof of
that God is a if you believe that God is some being that did something, but if you look at that, if you ask the questions, okay, what is God? And they give you an answer of what their God is. Now you got to question their answer of what God is.
How do they know what God is? Bingo. Have they ever seen this God? Have you
So
ever
there we
touched?
start with the axiom. You're making a claim about something that exists outside of space-time, that exists outside the fabric of reality. You're making
Let me
a
ask you.
claim
Mhm.
about 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 something outside of reality. So within reality, your claim has no validity.
So anything outside of reality, I don't think there's anything outside of reality. I think reality is all there is.
There you go. But
So any
metaphysical assertions are always always about something outside of space-time.
Now, what if someone came and asked and told you that their concept of God is just order?
Okay.
That is the
So
concept of
order is
that,
just order. Yeah,
that order. That's not a concept
that's
of
when
God.
we are moving the goalpost and we're shifting the conversation. Because I
Okay.
can tell you, okay, my mother is God. Okay, all right, have a nice day. Right now we're redefining the term, right, and that is a game. When you redefine the term, and I say, okay, you are solidified in your belief system, and now you move it right back to, well, order is this force that decides. So all of a sudden, order transform into agency. Agency transform into consciousness and awareness. And every time you get right back to that same proposition. So the moment you need to interject a God into the conversation, you're already stepping behind the noumena wall. Because within the phenomena, there's no need to make such assertion.
You have
They are
stopped doing.
arbitrary.
You have given up once you inserted God. You have cut your brain on and just said, I don't want to think anymore. Simple. For real.
Yeah, I can see that. But I was speaking to the fact of words beating change, the change of words and meanings of things according to our inductive reasoning, I want to say, or was it adductive? It's
Inductive.
under Yeah,
Now,
inductive reasoning.
words always metastasize and take on new forms and new value systems, right? Like cap, right? Like that's a new one. We are it, depending on which environment you're in, that has different meaning. With the younger kids, it means lying. My generation's going to throw a hat on his head, and somebody else is going to put a cover on a bottle, right? Um, so words transform. When we're having a theological discussion, it is clear what is defined by a God, a supernatural agent that has agency and intent with regards to existence and human affairs. Right? That's what we're talking about. And in the Western sense, it is usually the monotheistic deity. We have far long since left these polytheistic pantheons, far too complicated. Christianity made the most simple version of the Greeks. One demigod, uh, one God, one demigod, and keep it simple. Although within that, they still have the conundrum and needed to create an adversary and a host of the divine beings still. It is a story, it is a allegoric narrative, but it's the most simplest form of it. However, there is no ontological basis to accept, nor narrate, nor justify any of those presuppositions. So when we're having a conversation, from the moment you step outside of the theological framework, then the conversation is completely redundant. Because I would tell you, okay, my mom is God. My tree is God. Okay, anything is God at that point. But that's a Martin Bailey. Then you got the pantheist. Well, nature is God in of itself. That's just name changing, right? And
Yeah.
moving away from the conversation of Martin Bailey, because it's a much more easier defendable position. But in those conversations as well, you will see them run right back to a theological basis, or say they're not talking about God of the Bible, and then 2 seconds later hit you with a Bible verse. So this is all smoke and mirrors done by those who attempt to defend their theological positions without merit.
Well,
Well,
I think that whole Bible thing is just a futile attempt to express the laws of nature.
nope. It was those people attempt to keep their history going. That's really all it was. So those people, the Canaanites, Israelites, were in a state in a position where they were always being overran and used as vassals and things like that. They weren't ever a kingdom, but they were always around kingdom. Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, all those kingdoms just existing, and they just some little vagabond people. So when you actually think about it, these rabble rousers, this vagabond group of people with their Canaanite deity Yahweh existed when all those still exist, when all those other kingdoms are gone to history. So that's really what the Bible is. It's a tale about those people writing themselves into history. Without the Bible, the Israelites wouldn't exist. Keep it
Well,
real.
maybe I shouldn't have said the Bible. I'm talking about the laws that they call the Torah. I'm not talking about the people themselves, because I think everything is law.
All
Because
right.
I don't under what's the
So
difference between
I'm gonna
order?
interject here. This is a good point of interjection. Well, it is a good
Yeah.
point for me to introduce the Sunday school show. Tune in every Sunday between 10 and 10:30. I'm going to iron out the definitive time, but I'm probably be live at 10:30. Stretches a little bit. We're Suda Killer Sunday School, where we actually can take our time, go into this particular narrative, right? Because it flows out of establishing methodological naturalism, how to engage with reality. We are going to this Sunday delve into these bridge individuals. A lot of them were firmly stuck in their religious endeavor, so we will be transitioning into more conversations about our interaction with the Bible, the text, and go through the same analysis process. So stay tuned. Look forward to this Sunday, PK Sunday School at 10:30, where the main focus over the next couple of weeks, we will start to have these type of discussions, right? Where every Sunday we can go into an analytical framework of the Bible. So we don't do conjecture. We don't do, well, I think, no, we go into text and we break it down a la methodological naturalism. And I just want to know the validity, the value, the accuracy of what we're engaging with, and the speculation of what they did, why they did it, how they did it is of less relevance. We are going to explore the accuracy of what we're reading. Is this factual? And put things in a proper perspective. There, my side of textual criticism will come into play. I hope Sabio is in the building, because this is where Sabio shines. We will put things in its proper historical perspective, talk about narratives. How do you write stories, fiction,
Mm, mm.
fables, magic? This is storytelling
This is
from the turn of the from that era. This is how stories were told, right? That's why you have talking animals. These are tales of metaphor, deities that walked among men. You see the transition from uh, indigenous Canaanite culture and the usurping of the biblical narrative by the Greek thinkers, the Hellenized Jews, which completely transformed that whole concept into something completely different. The Ruah and the Nefesh have nothing to do with spirit and soul. These are distinct concepts that are smashed together in one document. So, in Suda Killer Sunday School, this is the intent and the purpose to go down dissecting the Bible from the means of perspective of methodological naturalism. Yeah, I'm a pure clinician. I have no appreciation for its cultural value, none whatsoever. And so, by means of just making the book what it is, a book,
a
and
book.
making it nothing more, and dissecting it, and using the same scalpel we do with everything else, trying to demysticize and put that piece of document in its proper perspective. So there's where we will be dealing with that subject much more in depth. I'm getting ready to close the show out. Praxis,
All right.
you
All
know,
right.
you have
Thank
the
you.
link. Wait just a second, bro. You have the link to the Discord. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in there. And of course, whenever I'm closing the show, I give my panel guests a moment to close out. They can say whatever they want and before we leave. So you have the floor, my brother.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is a great show, man. You guys are very and knowledgeable about what you speak of, and I appreciate that. And it's edifying to me. I think this show is about facts and fiction, cadence and diction, and I really do appreciate it. Have a good day.
I appreciate you, brother, man. Share the show. Tell your friends. Come over here. Let everybody know what we're doing. Help spread the word so we can grow this community. Savio, I look forward to seeing you this Sunday, my brother. You got the floor.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I was just thinking about something, and it can turn into a whole nother show. But humans have made the fundamental error that the laws of nature need us. No, we need them, because the laws of nature existed on this planet long before we even got here. At some point, we have to come to grips and recognize that the planet don't need us. We need this planet. Peace.
Yes, sir. The bubble, that's a puddle. Remember that. We fit the puddle. The puddle wasn't made for us. Oh, that's a puddle analogy. Again, folks, thank everyone for being here. For turning out today, our Friday show. Stay tuned to our next Set Talks on Monday. We'll be back, and I have to give it the cat is out the bag. We are going to be talking about postmodernism, rationalism, and falsification, and how that process is the closing loop on the scientific method. And we'll be rounding off the series next week and moving on into the further development of this pedagogic endeavor, what we're doing here with Set Talks. Stay tuned tomorrow, Saturday, for another Hit the Button show, or a couple of them. And you never know. We'll be in these YouTube streets. On Sunday, we're coming back with a morning show on this PK Sunday School at 10:30, I think it's going to be. And of course, we come back Sunday evening with Med Talks with Malcolm. Stay tuned to the Pseudo Killers family of shows as we continue to develop programs to educate, edify, and lift the level of literacy, scientific literacy in our community. Why? Because scientific literacy is the vaccine against scammers, charlatans, hoodwinkers, and the hustlers in our community. And since y'all here with me on this Friday, I'm going to take you out. Before we leave, y'all can dance the reggae. Oh! Look it.
What's your ideology? Seems to be the question round here lately.
Thumb up the show on your way out.
Rooted in blackology, fueled by the lack of integrity. Case in point, the so-called tragedy, misleading the people. High-level foolery. Come of us, king's monologue. It must be a conspiracy. Nostalgia got them stuck in the past. Always reliving history. Ask Dr. Ben and Clark. Say their names, here's our squad. All one big fantasy. Smoke and mirrors, only confusion, no clarity. The nigga pro, no crazy, Van Sermon, and Rash. Now they teaching God energy, but that's another story. Rage out here, seeking glory for him. truly. Reggie was denied his opportunity. He said at the feet so surely. It was meant to be his destiny to the king of mythology. That's your ideology. Seems to be the question. Round here lately. Confirmation bias. Poor research quality. Cherry picking data. That's a tragedy. Call yourself a scholar, then it's a travesty. You know it's right. Keep it trying to make science black. Who's confuses science with technology? Reggie, is this your idea? Everything a flame for blackology. A black city plan. Let me not digress. Don't wanna get lost in that mess. Even the skin now. Reggie tried to contest that affected him emotionally. Reggie came loaded with more pseudo.
Don't forget to tune in tomorrow. Stay tuned to the CedTalks channel because you never know when we won't.
Get the button. Get the button. Get the button. Get the button.
Hit the button, pseudo killers, yeah, we hit the button. Expose the myth, yeah, we hit the button. Identify the target, hit the button, hit the button, hit the button. Scientific literacy, hit the button. No excuses, yeah, we hit the button. Pseudo killers, yeah, we hit the button. Shoot you in the slot, yeah, she's taking a shot. Kid Dog Kent Logan, making it hot. The drive-by's coming, we calling you out. Pseudo killers in the building, no room for doubt. Hit the buttons, pseudo killers, yeah, we hit the button. Expose the myth, yeah, we hit the button. Identify the target, hit the button, hit the button, hit the button, hit the button. Got killer 45.
Friday night,
This man Rob
Sunday night,
Pseudo killers official.
9 o'clock.
To the theater, system by system, layer by layer. This is the pathology of the living.
CedTalks family show.
Yo, step into the lab, keep the vision focused. We're dissecting the machine, yeah, we're peeling back the notice. From the mirror to the muscle, every vessel got a mission. Malcolm's on the blade, surgical with the precision. We ain't talking metaphors, we're talking about the pump. The cardiac rhythm making every artery jump. 4 chambers, 1 goal, keeping pressure in the line. Evolutionary engine working overtime by design. It's the piece that I can stand it, yeah, we're holding up the light. Exposing the mechanics in the middle of the night. No myths, no rumors, just the data in the frame. When the body starts to speak, we're the ones who give it name. From the cortex to the collar, yeah, the blueprint is deep while the world is out.
Don't forget to tune in Tuesday.
We're putting our stamp on it for the family, for the future. This is pseudo killers.
Yo, we step into the theater where the optics are clinical. Reaching for the stars, yeah, we hitting the pinnacle. Newton laid the floor, but we're building the frame. Mapping out the heavens, giving clusters a name. We'll jump at Orion, see the dust and the glow. That's Bobby's nebula, let the whole world know. Methodological, yeah, we
Let's get a family of shows. Space Age African Anthony, Med Talk, CedTalks, the Hit the Button Show, CedTalks family. Come up with video.
If it ain't measurable, then it's gotta go. Check the globular cluster, then stars in the mob. In the PK catalog, we call it Mac 5. See the hard nebula, that's Juju with the light. Star forming regions, burning holes through the night. We're reclaiming the sky, one coordinate at a time. Applying the method, yeah, the reason and the rhyme. From a silver cyber down to the crab supernova. The era of the scammers and the myths, yeah, it's over. When space age applicants, eyes on the scope, trading through science, for the logic and the hope. To the killers and the building, pinnacle with the flow.
Y'all know this has been another episode of
Welcome to CedTalks, where we separate fact from fiction. Mess it up a myth every time. This that said talk, yeah, we said it straight. Cut through the noise, elevate the debate. No pseudo talk, no foggy claims. Just evidence-based when we build these frames. Said talks, yeah, clarity first. If it ain't got method, it probably won't work. From ancient knowledge to modern science, we draw that line, that clear defined. They say the ancients had science. Hold up, pause. Knowledge ain't the same as methodological laws. Observation, yeah, but control tests rare. No predictive models, you gotta be fair. We respect the past, but we keep it exact. Precision matters when you deal with facts. Astronomy grew, astrology split. One stayed empirical, one lean myth. The shift came through naturalistic method. Just stand and revise, that's how
We are Pseudo Killer Family.
Black African power. What's
We are.
good? What's happening? A well-organized lie. A well-organized lie. Defeats a disorganized truth. Every time, for who we?
A pseudo gon' die, they saw a pseudo killer. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling. Pseudo gon' die, they saw a pseudo killer. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling. Who do you believe in? People bringing misinformation when that information ain't disinformation. That's disinformation. Gotta know the difference in information. Get information with the pseudo killer army hunting pseudo. Cause you gotta train your mind to fight against them pseudo judo. People with the scholarship salute, we give them kudos. But the people with that look of shit, we look and see straight through those like telescope. If you ain't speaking fast, we gotta tell them folks and let them know the truth of. You bringing malinformation to blast, then you the Ku Klux. Like say, don't talk me to death, bro, what the proof of? Good juju chillin', why you wanna go way bad juju up? Shalom boy got the tank in the cut. I'm in Sosa world plotting on the kick though with Kent. Come in Tiffany gave me the pseudo names on the list and said went and got the low. Anthony got him in the scope, Gullah and Gozy. Make sure DNA ain't a problem for them folks, cause a pseudo gon' die, they saw a pseudo killer. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual